Would you take fucking Neymar at Newcastle? Yeah.
What's going on, people? Hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're well. Big up everybody who's here. Make sure you smash a like. Make sure you subscribe. Big up everybody in the chat. Big up Dan. Big up Tobes. Big up Lawless. Big up Pete. And big up Errol. Lewis will be here shortly, I am sure. I don't really know where to start. We don't have a City fan on. We'll come back to Arsenal in a minute. I think we should start with the top four stuff, man, because Errol, Dan, and Pete have been nervously awaiting what's going to be happening over the coming weeks. And finally, can we say that it's now done? Let's start with. I'm going to let Pete stew because Pete deserves a lot of credit here, but I'm going to let Dan and Errol go at it because they're,
Errol.
Dan's ready. I can see Dan's ready.
I want in on that. Errol beef because I've been speaking on this. I've been speaking on this Liverpool team for weeks.
Yeah.
No, lad. It's not about the performances, lad. It's about getting the results, lad. You got to get the results, lad. Well, yeah, let's talk. So go on, let me go first.
Talk.
Errol, the first thing you got to talk about is this goes to you, Seth, in the chat as well, and you, Errol. Repeat after me. Oh. Enjoy, my mate. Enjoy Thursday night sunshine. Absolutely brilliant.
Whoa, Dan, you're not confirmed yet. You're not safe. You're not out of the woodwork.
We've lost one home game all
season,
start of the season, mate. I feel
this would be.
We've stared the bottom off. It's done. It's done. I know it would be.
You know what?
It would be. It would be beautiful, Lawless. But even
it would be. I'm praying to all the gods, every god that exists. Please let Liverpool get Man United's spot because it would be hilarious.
Well, I said that from the start. I never once believed we would take Newcastle's spot. Maybe it was me wanting to take my new spot more than me actually thinking it was more realistic. However, my eye was always fixed on Man U spot being the one that was up for grabs. But no, fuck it, you're 100% right, boys. Especially, I think Dan up top there was probably one of the first ones this season that said Liverpool won't be getting in the top four after the way that we'd played in a couple of games early doors. And unfortunately, he's been right. There's not much I can say. And I do you know what though? For the longest time, I've been resigned to it, and you'll know that I've been resigned to not getting top four. The only thing I've asked of my team is to at least put as much pressure as possible on Newcastle and Man U to make it uncomfortable for you lads. And unfortunately, we couldn't even do that. The only guarantee that this Liverpool team have been able to deliver this season is they've made a fool out of me time and time again. Every time I've backed them and started to believe all of a sudden and believe what we could go a little bit further, do a little bit better than what we've previously done. Bear in mind, we're still unbeaten in like 11. It's not good enough. As Tobes was saying then, it's not about the performances, it's about the results, lad. Well, it is. And we didn't get the result the other day. So, yeah, they've made a fool out of me again. I've just got to hold my hands up and just say, do you know what? I backed this team because of the levels that this team have been at the season's gone by now. And you'd have been a fool at the start of the season to not back them, to believe they could go on to challenge, be top four comfortably, at least see out a top four battle. But we fell short massively this season. We've let ourselves down. We've let the fans down. We let a couple of the lads that were leaving on the last home game down as well. So, yeah, it's very much a disappointing end to Liverpool's season. But the one thing I will say, as much as we've been defeated, I'll be humble enough and say, Pete, I've said your Newcastle lads have been good value for money for top four for weeks, and you've proven it yet again. Dan, your lads up there, have been the most consistent enough team to see in top four. Everybody else has been shocking, and as a result, you guys have been able to scoop the fourth place prize. But go on, open season, let me have it.
I don't know what you're talking about, Errol. I don't know what you're talking about, mate. I feel gutted for you.
Is that a notebook, Toby?
Absolutely
It's not.
gutted.
Don't worry, man. Don't worry about that.
Toes, hit him, mate. Hit him. You go first.
Toby's got notes.
No, it's nothing to do with you, but it's just interesting, right? Because big up to Dan for calling out you guys not finishing top four. But I think since since the turn of the year, I remember even the game we played where you guys beat us at our ground. I said, this is not a good team, man. They're just not to say that you ain't got good players. You do have good players, but as a unit, you're just not good enough. And this side of the year, I've never been fooled by that run. When you're winning 3 games, 4 games, even when you beat us, you're not getting top 4 because, simply put, you've been too bad and you're not going to get to do what you did 2 years ago. Remember what you did 2 years ago where you won like 9 games straight and you snuck into top 4. It wasn't going to happen this year because you've just not been good enough. And you know what? You don't deserve top 4. The table doesn't lie, right? You don't deserve top 4. You've not defended well enough this season. You've not controlled enough games this season. The only thing that's probably that you've actually been able to do throughout the entirety of the campaign is create goal-scoring chances, obviously with an absence of putting them away. Simply put, you, Klopp, the players, just not been good enough, right? And I said you, yes, you, Klopp, the players, just not been good enough. You got that, brother.
That sums up Liverpool season. That sums it up.
Oh man!
No, we've got. No, do you know what though? I respect it, Toby, because you're not wrong, lad. Like what you said defensively, we've not been good enough. What you said about controlling games, we've not. And I've said it for a while. When you were asking me, are we good? I said I don't see it because we don't deserve at this moment in time. We don't deserve to. There are teams above us that are deserving to be where they are, and we've not given any of them a bloody nose. We're still one of the only teams that have done the double over Newcastle this season, but doing a double over Newcastle isn't going to get you top 4, Joe. I mean, you've got to put your chances away. And again, I'm not even looking at the game against Villa. I was confident that we'd finish on 71 points. I genuinely felt like the last 3 games we'd see them out, especially at home with the home game being Villa. But there are other games that we can look at this season: Wolves, Brighton, the loss at Arsenal, the loss at Man U at the start of the season. There are plenty of games. There's enough of a body of work there for us to look at and say, that's the reason why we're not actually in top 4 this season. It wasn't drawing 1-1 with Aston Villa. It wasn't getting beat 4-1 by Man City or anything like that. There have been teams, Bournemouth, that we should have put away and put to bed, and we didn't, and that's on us. What was that saying? And there was a doubt of what?
There was no doubt that you were going to beat him.
There wasn't. In my head, there wasn't. I genuinely thought we would, and I'll be honest, I hold my hands up to that. I've got to hold that, bro. Like
people are telling me that we're going to struggle against Villa. No chance, mate. No chance, mate. Fucking do me a favour.
You've been practicing that. You've all been practicing your Scouse accent, taking lessons off Lawless for the last fucking week.
To be fair, from a Newcastle perspective, like when we were looking at all the results unloaded, we did have Villa down as a game that we didn't think that you get maximum points from. Villa are a good side. Villa, Rich is in the chat tonight from Villa Pop Podcast. They played well, and to be fair, they deserved at least a point. I thought they were good.
Well, this is what I was about to ask you. So if we're going to, obviously, we can talk about Liverpool's capitulation in terms of top 4, and you can have a look at that. But if we break it down and we actually look at that game, when you seen Cody Gakpo's goal ruled off for offside, what was your general thoughts on that situation? Was you
pure elation? Pure and utter elation.
Aside from the elation, did you understand why it was ruled out? Because you knew, Dan, you was there in the chat while I was on the watch along, so I've got no sound. So I'm sitting there perplexed as if to say, how's he giving my man offside for that? Like, what actually happened?
I had, because on my TV downstairs, I could put a couple of games on at the same time, so I always have like 2 on. And I'd like to say I heard what they said, mate, but I was just focused on my phone when it got disallowed. You go it's fair. So I don't know, mate. I don't know. The main thing is VAR got it right again. That's all I can say. The main thing is VAR did their job. That's what they're there to do. Simple as that. It's a decision. You move on from it, mate.
It wasn't even VAR because VAR went back to the ref and gave the ref the. That's what confused me. I thought it was an offside call, and all of a sudden the ref's getting called over to the monitor. I'm thinking, when does that ever happen with an offside call?
It was a shoddy decision, mate. All jokes aside, it was a shoddy decision, I thought, to be fair.
All right, fair enough. And no one else seen it?
No. I thought it was weird. I can't lie. Yeah. I thought it was a weird one.
All right, so it's not just me. And again,
that weren't just you. It weren't just you.
Yeah, I don't come on here and talk about refs that often, but that was one decision to see. I thought, what the fuck's going on here? And then from there,
how many has there been though like this? I'm
That was
actually
my
sick of
argument
talking
on
about it
Chris's
now.
talk
Like
the other
it
day, mate.
actually is. It actually
Do you
is
know what though,
ruining
Errol?
the game.
I think
It's
the thing for me, mate, right, is if you'd have got top 4, I think it would have masked all the issues you've had, you know, midway through the season. And I
Didn't
think
deserve it. Liverpool didn't deserve top 4.
yeah,
I can't lie.
yeah, we can obviously have the banter about United, Liverpool, you know, whatever, but it would have masked the problem. And I think the worry that some Liverpool fans may have had would have been, well, did they just carry on? We're okay. We're actually we've hit it now. We've got the formation we need. We're fine now. Let's go on. Bring maybe one midfielder in, and off we go.
I was going to say that at the top when he's opened it up to me. I was going to say in reality, this might actually be a blessing in disguise for us in terms of how we can properly. I know Lord's still in the face, but we get because we're operating with a pretty much a new spine and a new like system that he wants to go with. We can't risk that high level of football. We've seen it when the standard that you've got to be at, you've got to be damn near perfect. There's no way Liverpool are going to be perfect next season to go toe-to-toe for City. And then you throw in the Champions League on top of that, and you've almost got to be perfect to get far into that competition as well nowadays. So the Europa League presents us an opportunity to really bed in those players, get plenty of minutes in their legs, and see the level that they're performing at. If we blitz the Europa League and make it look easy, sound, you know, it's been a blessing in disguise. If we're still struggling in the Europa League, you know there's a larger problems at play. The last question I'll throw back to you is does Klopp stay this summer now? Because I don't think he's going anywhere. I've not thought he's going anywhere all season.
He's staying.
But he's staying.
He's not going, man. I know Pete and Dan thought he'd walk. I don't think he will.
What's this?
He deserves more than one season anyway.
I don't know. Pete, are you the same as me? I'm just not sure.
Nah, I'll be honest. I think I'm switching now. I think it'll probably stay.
Come on, Dan. Don't sit on the fence. Pick a side.
Errol made a really good point at the time, and it kind of reigns true now. Is that where else does he go? Where else does he go that he's going to get?
Yeah, well, Ancelotti's staying at Madrid for another season. They've confirmed that, haven't they? Now
he ain't going anywhere, man. He's staying at Liverpool. And I was going to ask both of you this. I was going to ask Dan and Errol this before we move, right? Like, I know we're like moving on already to next season, but like everyone is looking at like season ending now. The summer coming in, how's everyone going to try and catch Man City? Like, I'll start with Errol and I'll come to Dan. What do Liverpool need in the summer to allow them to not have a season like this one that's just happened? Because I would argue, and I argue with a lot of people about this, I actually don't think Liverpool need 9 or 10 players. I think Liverpool need a few. So where are you at with that, bruv?
Honestly, I think we need, and it's very hard to say because you could look at certain players in the Prem at the minute and say, well, they're Prem ready because they're already playing Premier League minutes and they're getting it. But are they gonna again? And Declan Rice is a great example. If you was to get someone like Declan Rice, he's managed this season to play at a very high level, but also play European football. So he's playing nearly 2 games a week. That's the type of player that Liverpool need to identify. I'm not saying Declan Rice because the money's going to be ridiculous, but we need someone that can come in and actually be title challenge ready for us in the sense that you can play 2 games a week to a very high standard and you can be through in this squad. And the first areas that we need to address is the centre of the park. I genuinely think we need to move away from the industrious midfield that we've had of years gone by. We need to have a little bit more guile in there. We need to have we need durability, guile, and the availability as well. So we need a robust player. I'd say we need at least 2 midfielders in there. Definitely on that.
We got you, bro.
You got us.
You, bro.
and then I'd also say we need a covering centre half as well, because I think either Joe Gomez or Matip is going to leave in the summer. Outside of that, there's probably a few other areas that we could probably do with some reinforcements. But if we don't address those 2 as a priority, we won't be any better off in 12 months' time. I honestly think that right now.
Play man, Dan, same question to you, bro. Man United, there's obviously this takeover rumour, which could change things massively, like ridiculously. But I mean, Manchester United need players, whatever. You still don't have a centre forward, in my opinion. So that's one obvious area. But what else do you think you need, bruv?
Yeah, I mean, this Qatari thing, I just keep thinking it's going to happen. And it's the stories about Neymar coming that keep making me think this is going to happen, because that's a classic Qatari. It's classic.
It's a classic. It's a classic Glazier bloody signing. That's what it is.
You want him though,
right?
Glazier signing. Would Man United say they don't want? I would take Neymar, right? You would say yes to Neymar, right?
No, I wouldn't. Injury prone. I think he's the wrong side of 30 now. I don't want him at United. I don't. Squad wise, we need a centre back straight away. That's a given. We obviously, for me, I still think we need a new goalkeeper. But my fear is that I think it will be De Gea against Henderson next season, because Henderson's obviously got that injury, and I worry that no one will buy him in the summer. We need 2 strikers, not 1. We need 2. At the end of the day, if you look at it, we never replaced Cavani. We never replaced Ronaldo. Well, I mean, yeah, we didn't replace Ronaldo. You can't say that about Veggie. How Veggie Toves knows. We need 2 strikers. I would not be opposed to Sancho going. I really wouldn't be opposed to Sancho going and maybe bringing someone out on the wing. And I think we need someone to cover Casemiro, because I think that's where we've seen Casemiro drop off a bit this season. I think he's been doing the job of 2 people in that midfield. So I'd say we need 4, maybe 5 players. I'd say
You'd let Sancho go
for a good price, mate. I'm not saying I'd kick him out the door, but for a good price, I would. Yeah, 100%. I watch him, Errol. I watch him week in, week out, and at the moment, I don't understand what he is. He's not a winger. He's played him inside. He doesn't track back. When he loses the ball, he sort of does the like that. Whereas Anthony, as much as he's frustrating. He is so frustrating. He will run. I get it, Toes. I get it. No, I get it. But what I'm saying is, with Anthony, you will see him racing back. He tracks. He gets that side of it. So for me, Sancho's becoming that sort of luxury player. I don't think does anywhere near what he should do for the price we paid for him. So yeah, the other side I was going to say about Errol, just about Klopp quickly, is I think the next few weeks are key with Klopp. The next few weeks to see what the board has in place.
We need to get our business done right.
Yeah, to bring the players in, because I think if they don't do what Klopp wants to do, if they're not following where he thinks you need to go, that's where I think this love affair ends. Personally, anyway.
Fair one, man. I think United. Tobes, let me come to you quick on Neymar. If you're a United fan, are you wanting him or not?
Yeah, I'm taking him. I'm taking him personally. Listen, I get the logic. I get the logic behind not wanting Man United to be over reliant on another fading superstar on big money, etc., etc. You want it to be more of a team ethic than a one-man show, right? But I think Neymar is at a stage of his career where I feel like with his fitness and availability, he knows that he can't be that main man regularly, right? And then I feel like when you look at how this deal's structured, for me, it's a no-brainer for Man United. Dan just spoke about how frustrating Anthony is. He's crap. Let's call a spade a spade. He's crap. More often than not, he gets the ball. Nothing really comes of it. And then on the left-hand side, if it's not Rashford or Garnacho providing, then it's basically a black hole because Sancho just lacks the blistering speed that he needs to take players 1v1. And with all due respect, is nowhere near as good a facilitator as Neymar. So he's lacking. The only place he's active is when he's in the box and he's got a clear sight in that goal. Now, Neymar, for me, I think he's on top of the fact that this is someone who immediately raises the technical quality of Man United's team, which is required. Man United don't, similar to Spurs, even though they're better than Spurs, similar to Spurs in the sense where they don't have a high level of technicians spread out through the team. From in the forward line, in the midfield, in the defense, in the goalkeeper, the technical quality in Man United's team is low. To bridge the gap to the likes of Man City, you could do much worse than a Neymar, right? You could do much worse than a Neymar, and he's versatile.
Even if you don't get chewed up in the Prem, no, Tobes.
What's that?
Do you not think he gets chewed up in the Prem?
Not really, no, because he's blitzed. He's done his thing against Premier League sides anyway. I think he's someone who's, unfortunately for him, he's someone who's had to ride a lot of challenges and take a lot of injuries, etc., etc. And yes, there are definitely valid concerns over his physicality and durability in this league. But when you look at what I've read, and you can correct me on this, Dan, from what reports are saying, it's a loan and PSG are willing to cover all of the wages. If that's the case, that's basically signing Neymar. Why would you not do that?
Why would you not do that if that's true?
Okay, why would PSG do that? Exactly, Lewis. Why are PSG willing to pay all that money to have him playing for another side. His attitude
Okay,
to me
so
isn't there either.
that is the one thing I would
but
say,
as
that
a
there's
player, he's
potential
still
mentality.
too good. He's still too good. Like,
Does he get
walks
in the
into
City side?
Yes, of course he does. He's
Yeah,
better
he
than
does.
Grealish.
No, I don't
Absolutely,
think
he's
he
better
does.
than Grealish. What?
Like,
Of course he
there's
does.
definitely an argument if you want to say
Of course he
against.
does.
What-
Who's benching him in Man City's team? On the
Sorry?
left.
Neymar, bro. He walks into
benching
England,
Neymar
he
on the
becomes
left
one of the
for
best
City- for
forwards in the
City?
country, just like
I
that.
tell you why he doesn't get into the Barca side, because Pep Guardiola would go nowhere near him, and this is what I'm
Barca?
trying to.
Or
This
City?
is
Yeah, we talking about Barca.
sorry.
You meant
said
City.
Barca,
You said
you meant
Barca,
City.
not City.
Oh, sorry, City. He'd go nowhere near him. He'd go nowhere near him, and this is the problem. We've had players with poor attitude, and I don't think he has the right attitude to come and work in a Ten Hag game. I honestly don't see it. I also don't want a player who's going to go missing once a season to go to his sister's fucking birthday. I don't want that. I don't want a player who has played 22
mentality
games this
for you. It's
season.
not
But if
quality,
you're
Dan.
getting him
It's
for
mentality.
free, if you're getting him for free from the sounds of it,
But why do they want to get rid of him so quick then?
Yeah, you
There's
just
a
got
reason
rid
why
of
it's
Ronaldo
There's a reason.
drama, and you're
as
going
a
to bring in
player, he
Neymar
comes in and
drama.
he
Don't want
that
him.
makes sense.
Don't
If
want
I
him.
was the type,
Just like
if I was
that.
the type of guy to do analogies, yeah,
Oh,
it'd be
God.
it'd be like the gal that had been ran through by everybody,
Here we go.
and all of a sudden you're getting palmed off with her and saying, "Yo, you go take her to the prom." You gonna go do it?
Well, Tobes and Lewis would.
No, you've seen the state of mind, man.
This is what you call a Rolls Royce footballer, right? I'm not even going to entertain that analogy because it could get messy if we entertain that. This is a Rolls Royce footballer who's had really bad luck with
He's a cat D now, though. Told he's a cat D.
But even in a cat D state, he's still better than any attacker Man United have. He's still better than any attacker Man United have. He is. He is. And
facts.
he will up, and I feel like with the finances involved in the deal, there's more to gain than there is to lose. Like, what do you actually lose from getting Neymar on the team? It doesn't stop you from building
Squad morale, all of them sort of things affecting the team.
The
Again, like I
How
said,
can bring in one of the biggest superstars?
Ronaldo.
Case in point.
But Ronaldo is not like Neymar. Ronaldo plays for himself. Neymar doesn't play for himself. Neymar is a selfless footballer. Neymar is a facilitator, bro. He's one of the most creative players in world football. It's completely different to Ronaldo.
Yeah, but you obviously have the off the pitch issues. Why?
No, what the issue is
why no one's answering why you want to get rid of him?
Let's break this down.
Now,
The
Lord,
off the
Toby
pitch
just
issue-
made a great point, though. He is a facilitator. The issue that Man U have got is there's nobody there to finish what he facilitates.
Not yet.
So, right, well, that's
Yes,
it.
man,
Not
you're
yet.
bringing a striker.
Yeah, but
bringing a
man,
striker, so-
I could see Man U's board being like, we've got Neymar, job done, and then all of a
Exactly
sudden,
that.
That's
I know,
stupid. Doesn't
we
really
know
make
that,
sense.
Told. We know that's stupid, but the way that they move and the way that the Glazers move in the past, they're not footballing men. They just think shirt sales. Neymar's gonna not only sell
Money
shirt
spinner.
sales,
It's a money
but
spinner.
he's gonna add something to the pitch. He's gonna get people bums off the seats and that, and he will. But in terms of what the team need to do going forward on the pitch, he is the facilitator. He's not the end guy. So who are they going to line? Like, don't get me wrong. If the finances are what Toby's saying and what Dan have said, the most logical thing for them to do, if I was Man U in that situation, I was director of footy, I'd be getting Neymar for the free, taking him for the season, and I'd be going out and getting Kane. Go and pay your money for Harry Kane. If you do that, then it's a whole different proposition.
Kane, Neymar, and Rashford across the front three.
It's a different proposition. That's a different
The big key to this is that I've got an opinion on Neymar. I'll say that in a second. But the big key to this is that I don't know whether Eric Ten Hag would want Neymar.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
With Eric Ten Hag and what he's tried to build and what he did, which actually built his reputation by getting rid of Ronaldo and what he did to facilitate that move out of the club, to get another one in that is, yes, maybe doesn't do similar on the pitch, but as a celebrity, which is basically what Neymar is, creates problems off the pitch, which is what he's done to PSG. Like, you're literally just kind of getting rid of one player and bringing in another. For me, that's not an Eric Ten Hag type of signing. It just isn't.
That would be a forced on signing. That would.
Yeah,
that would be a forced on
which
signing.
then brings its own problems, because if then you're buying players above the manager and saying he's the guy that we want because he's a money spinner.
In
You've
his
got to deal
contract,
with
he'll
it.
have
It
to
just
play
creates
certain
more
amounts of
problems.
games as well.
Exactly that.
You'll have to
What's
play
your
certain-
opinion though, Pete, on Neymar then?
Well, look, if anyone follows me, you'll know my brother's been, he's a season ticket holder at PSG. He has been since going on nearly 20 years now. He's supported the club for 30 years. He goes to pretty much every game. And we talk a lot about French football, and in particular PSG, and they want him gone. PSG want him gone.
They're in his fucking house a couple of weeks
Why?
ago.
I want to
weren't
know
they?
why. No one's saying why.
They want him out the club. Like there's
Why?
two players. There's either one or the other that goes in the summer, Messi or Neymar.
Yeah.
Messi is the one that they want to keep. They want to keep him, and there's a chance that he signs a new deal. It's either he signs a new deal or he goes to Saudi. There's a chance that he can actually, with all the talk that's been going on with PSG, he actually might well sign a new deal. Whether it's a year extension or not, we don't know. But they want Neymar gone. It's as simple as that. They want him out.
Why? Why is no one saying
first
why?
and foremost, I ask the question all the time because what you guys are talking about, I ask my brother the same question. I'm like, well, why do they want Neymar gone? And from what he watches, and he sits with the ultras at PSG every week, and the one thing he says is that he's lost his pace. He's lost his pace to beat a man. He's not the same dynamic player as he was before. He's still got the trickery and the skill, but he hasn't got that pace in and behind to really cause the problems that he did 2 or 3 years ago. So they've picked up on that. The attitude behind the scenes is not great. And the way in which he responds. There's all this talk about being injured around his sister's birthday and all the rest of it. Some of it years ago rang true. This year was a genuine injury, but there was a genuine concern behind the scenes that was an issue that he was doing year upon year. There's an attitude problem with him with regards to that. Then there's the finances on top of that. And the fact that they brought in, for the fourth thing, they brought in Luis Campos. And Luis Campos is well known for traditionally building players that are based within the country that he works in. So you know what he's done at the likes of Monaco. He come in at PSG, he's brought young players in to build a different type of PSG, not a superstar-studded team. And that's what they're looking to do. It's going to take a few years to get that out of PSG. But one of the main things that they can do to start that ball rolling is get rid of Neymar and move the club on. And they're looking at Moussa Diaby, and I know me and Potts, we've talked about him.
Yeah.
We've both been linked with him. Moussa Diaby is a French player. My brother was saying, even at the time we went to Leverkusen, why did PSG get rid of him? Because he was a quality player then, and he should have been playing in the PSG team now. And there's a high chance that he goes back there and becomes the Neymar replacement. And they'll go with naturally French-based players that can do the business because they're trying to build a different PSG. And someone put in the chat, Messi might leave. He may well leave. They may well get rid of both of them because they are trying to build a different PSG. But building these star-studded, getting all these big star-studded players into PSG has not worked. They haven't won the Champions League. It hasn't worked. So they're trying to change tack now and do something a little bit different. So that's kind of where it's at.
So no, but I think that part I get and I understand because I've actually been keeping up with that news as well. Potts, you know Stuart, Parisian Londoner, so he mentioned the same. But like, there's an argument also that PSG's project was a vanity project based solely around bringing every single superstar at once, and in certain cases, bringing superstars that were past their sell-by date or using them in such a way that did not benefit PSG, right? We're talking about one player here, guys. It's not, when you watch PSG play over the last couple of years, you've got Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe in the team. 3 men who are not going to track back. They're not going to press. So by default, that already collapses any sort of progressive game you want to play if you want to defend from the front foot, right? We're talking about Neymar here, just one player. One player, in my opinion, will not disrupt any sort of squad building that Man United should target. Signing Neymar, in my opinion, would be stupid to then think, oh, because we signed Neymar, that means striker's going to get neglected, midfield's going to get neglected, defense is going to get neglected. Everyone can see what Man United need: goalkeeper, probably at least one new fullback, another centre back, at least 2 midfielders, at least 1 striker, and at least another wide player.
That's a lot. Well, all right, then. So I get that, and I agree 100%. I agree with you. But haven't they just signed the head on an extension? Have I missed
not
that?
gone
Yeah,
through
but
yet.
It's all right, so
they signed
let me
they
just
signed him on a 1-year extension, right?
All right, then that's calm. That's calm. So all right, if he does,
Is it 1 year?
Sorry,
yeah, it hasn't
1
gone
year.
through.
Is it 1 year, Dan, or 3?
Okay, so if it
1
does,
year, 1 year, I think it was.
There
I'm
you
not
go
sure.
then.
he
It was 1
stays for
year.
another year. But in the last couple of years, whether it was Woodward or not, or obviously whoever's come in since he left in the summer, whenever Man U done wholesale, you must have reeled off about 4 or 5, at least 5 positions then. When have they been able to get 5 positions addressed in a summer transfer window and get the outgoings that they need to be gone as well? They've not been able to move quick enough and operate in the transfer.
We're always last to the table.
Yeah, they're not that precise with it.
You
So
look
it's
at
Neymar's
Liverpool,
not a priority for Man United.
it's
not a
clear.
priority.
It's we can see that, and I think it's sound that we can see it amongst us. But I still don't have the confidence, and that's just me looking from the outside looking in, that they have football and people in play that can do that. Neymar becomes a distraction from all the other business that needs to be done. Neymar just absorbs everything. He just takes up all the space from where everyone else's focus should be, is my opinion. Don't get me wrong. Get him, and if it goes tits up, laughing. I'm not asked. But there is the chance that Man U could fumble the bag if they put all their eggs into Neymar's basket.
Lewis, a team that will be interested in him, I'm sure, will be you boys, because you go for these sort of guys. Jake says, I know Lewis fantasizing about Neymar and Havertz linking with Mount behind in the pocket. He's obviously being sarcastic. I mean, is Neymar going to look at Chelsea as a realistic option, or is he going to be wanting to get a Champions League side and go? Like, would you take him, Lewis?
I have heard we're linked with him. I can't lie. If he's interested, welcome aboard. I don't care. I'm taking him every single day of the week. With this attack that I have, you think I'm ever going to turn my nose up at the likes of Neymar? This guy comes in, instantly transforms my team's attack. Yeah, I don't see anything against it personally. I bring him for a year or 2. I don't think he'd come to us because we don't have Champions League football. But if he did feel like it, please, I've been begging for some world-class quality up front for years, and he's right there. Even in this off-season that he's having, I think he's still got close to 40 goals and assists this season. What?
You got Aubameyang. You got Raheem Sterling.
He don't even want to be here. Then we don't even want to play him.
You got Nkunku coming in.
Doesn't he want to get out of his deal?
That position.
What?
Doesn't he want to get out of his deal, that Nkunku?
No. Nkunku still wants in. I don't know why, but fair enough. Welcome aboard. He can be our out.
You say you don't know why, but like Poch is going to come in and things are going to change. So I wanted to ask you about the situation in the summer with Chelsea. Is Todd going to do a madness again, 700 million, give it to Poch and let him do what he wants, or is he going to be a little bit more structured this time, man?
I don't think it's going to be like 700 million or anything, because I don't think we're going to bring in as many players. I think you'll see a lot more players leave Chelsea in the summer than come in, but we'll still spend heavily in certain positions. We're going to go for a number 9. That's never cheap. We got to bring in a new goalkeeper as well, because Mendy's on his way out. Potentially, not potentially. We're going in for a DM as well. I'd want us to get 2 midfielders personally, because I think we need a bit better depth there. But I think that would be about it.
What sort of names, though? What sort of names do you link with in those positions? What sort of names are you expecting to be linked with for those positions?
In goal, I've heard Onana.
But
we've also had like what's his name? I've forgotten his name anyway. Diogo Costa. That's it. We've been linked to Diogo Costa as well, but that's been a bit more quiet. DM, we've been linked heavily with Lavia and Ugarte. I'd take either of them personally. And up front, like we've been linked with a lot of strikers, but Tony's banned till January. Oshiman's just too expensive. I don't think anyone's going to get him.
They want 140 million for him, don't they, Lewis?
Yeah, it's stupid. But like, it's Napoli. They've been hard to negotiate with. They just won the league. They're not going to give away any of their stars. I think the only realistic options we have up top is Vlahovic, Lautaro Martinez, or you bring Lukaku back. It's one of those 3 options. I wouldn't mind Lautaro coming in, but like Lautaro's better in a 2. So are you going to bring Lukaku back in with him, or how are you going to make that work? If you want to, fair enough. If Poch wants to give Lukaku another try, I'm not going to say anything
Is
about
Lukaku
it.
not staying with Inter, Lewis?
No, I don't think they can afford him.
I think he wants to stay at Inter, but Inter can't afford him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to lower his wages. He wants Chelsea to pay more wages, and we're basically saying fuck off. So it all depends on what him and Poch want. If he wants to make it work with Pochettino, whatever, but I'd like us to get an actual striker in. Like, I wouldn't mind us getting Lautaro. I wouldn't even mind Vlahovic. I think Vlahovic is a good striker too.
Yeah.
But I think those are the only positions we're going to go in for.
You don't want Lukaku Mark 3, do you?
I don't, but if there's
Third
no
time's
other
a charm.
option, I'll take it. I don't want Lukaku back, but we're not in a position to be picky. We're really not. If we can't get any of our other options, you might have to get Lukaku unless you find a hidden gem somewhere.
Lewis, if you don't get top 4 this coming season, is that a failure?
Yes, I'd want us to be competing for top 4, but I wouldn't be like Poch out if we don't do it. Obviously, it depends on context, but I wouldn't demand it because I understand the competition that's there. Like Man United, Liverpool, not too sure where Spurs will be. There's Brighton, Aston Villa potentially. There's going to be a lot of contention for the top 4 next season. So if we don't get it, I'm not going to be fuming about it, but I will look at why, because I expect us to be in the top 4 every season. I want a cup competition as well, because we're out of Europe, so we should prioritize those competitions a lot more. So yeah, next season the standards come back. It's just 5 more days before this crap's over.
See, if you was an Arsenal fan, you'd call 7th progress because obviously. But you know what? You'd be more right because it wouldn't be Poch who actually lowered the standards by making you finish that low. So in fact, for him, if I'm Poch and he misses out on top 4 next season, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be calling for his head like if I'm a Chelsea fan, if he misses out on top 4 next season, because how low you sunk, like, well, you're going to be finishing like 12th or 13th this season. Squad's a mess, absolute shambles. So it's a big job. So even though, you should look to try and get top 4. If you don't, I don't think it's a massive failure on the manager. Obviously, depending on what happens in the summer.
It's not a failure, but I also want to act like, oh, it's okay, we finished 7th or anything. No, I don't want that. I want top 4. If we don't get top 4, that's a bad season in general. Even if you could say there's progress made, it's not anything to flex about.
So no process. No process.
Give me a cup as a minimum. What was that?
No process. You're not about processes at Chelsea.
Yeah, there's processes. But I understand that, but that's why I'm not going to say Poch out. I won't be like, oh, you didn't make top 4. Get this manager out and get another one in. No, but I'm going to say it's not a good season. I'm not going to try and like pretend that we did something amazing by finishing 7th or try and lord it up as anything. No, like we've done nothing. We have to win.
I don't see it as a similar thing to Arsenal because we've had patience with this guy and come 8th and Chelsea got to like 8 months in and went, nope, get rid of him. Let's get someone else. So I don't know that this
will be relegation form.
Exactly.
Like
no. I'm not saying it was the wrong thing. I'm just saying that I don't see a similarity to what we've done.
Potter was going to have a lot of patience. I still say the match-going fans still gave Potter a lot more patience compared to the way they gave Sarri. I've never heard a "We want Potter out" chant or anything like that from the Chelsea fans about Potter. He was given a lot of time. He was just an idiot, and like if you got a team of Chelsea's quality playing relegation standard football, you have to go. Like there's no excuse for it. I do believe Poch will get given time. I don't think it's going to be top 4. You get sacked like it would have been under Roman Abramovich. But same way, we're not going to act like it's a success if we get to 7th or 8th or something like that. At least we're not 12th again.
Yeah, man.
I can't lie. I think 7th or 8th is unacceptable for Pochettino next season. I really think it is. We need to realize the club that he's going to manage, and we need to realize the investment that Chelsea have made on the players, right?
It's been a poor investment, though. It's been a poor investment.
How do you know they've been poor?
So far, because you look at it. It's just they've just bought a load of names in with no.
A lot of them are young. But a lot of them are young players. Can you really say Fofana's a poor investment? As bad as he's been in recent weeks, can you really say to yourself, Wesley Fofana's a poor investment?
Yeah, but if you've got Pochettino, right, who has a certain way of playing, he's inheriting this massive squad a mishmash of players, and now he's got to try and make sense of it, try and get rid of the ones that ain't going to fit into his system, keep ones that will, bring in more that will. It's not just something that's gonna click overnight. And if he does, he's done an amazing job.
Not saying it should click overnight, but as you've seen, Spurs are literally 8th, right? To be 8th means that you've had for a club like Chelsea, means that you have had a diabolical campaign, right? What I'm asking of Pochettino, although it's not easy, it shouldn't be out of the realms of possibility, right? They're going to have no Europe to contend with next year, provided that Chelsea give him free reign to actually clear out the squad and decide who he wants to keep, who he wants to sell, who he even wants to bring in. As long as he has that power and time, then I think the objective for Pochettino should be to try and finish in the top 4 next year. That should be a building block. Try and finish in the top 4 next year and try and win some silverware. I think
that should be his objective, but I'm saying if he doesn't achieve it, it's not a big, disaster.
No, there's a difference. There's a difference. I said that finishing 7th or 8th is unacceptable for Chelsea. It is, because these players that you keep saying are these players that you're insinuating are a load of rubbish, etc., etc. They're not. Okay,
I'm not saying they're all rubbish. I'm saying they all don't fit together. Or fit in this
but you don't know. We don't know what fits and what doesn't fit, because Chelsea, for the most part, have not been coached well this season. Yeah, they sacked Thomas Tuchel. They brought in Graham Potter, who had way too much on his plate to deal with and couldn't handle it. And then they brought in a novice in Lampard. We don't know. Are you really going to tell me that Mudryk is this bad? You really going to tell me that Badiashile can't contribute for Chelsea in the future? They got Levi Colwill out on loan.
Question marks over them.
Not Badiashile, no chance. He's been brilliant.
You could have been saying this. We just talked about Sancho, right? Sancho coming in here. No one was saying about Sancho being a bum.
It's completely different, Lawless.
Everyone had high hopes for him.
It's completely
so you can't say Mudryk is going to be a guaranteed fucking.
I'm not saying it's going to be a guarantee, but Sancho has played. Sancho played a lot of games for Man United last year. Sancho was playing early on this year before he.
No, I'm talking about when he first come in. He's a flop, right? He's a flop. So there's nothing to say that these jokes like Mudryk would not be a flop. He's so far.
I'm not just talking about Mudryk. Chelsea have an abundance of talent. They simply have too much talent at Poch's disposal for them to be performing as bad as 8th next season. If I go through the list of names, come on. A good manager can make something work with a crop of these players, and then you add in your own razzle dazzle. Enzo Nkunku, who's coming in the summer. Raheem Sterling. Thiago Silva's probably going to stay for 1 more year. Fofana. Who else have you signed?
Badiashile.
Malo Gusto, who's coming in for cover right back, because when they lose Reece James to injury, the alternative is Azpilicueta, who doesn't offer them the same. Like, Chelsea have way too much talent in this team.
Where's the balance?
Yes, that's what Pochettino does. That's his job. What do you mean the balance?
No, his job is to coach him, but he has to. Like I said,
that's his job. What do you mean?
Yeah, but again, he has to be able to get rid of a portion of his players. He's not going to be able to get rid of all these players. He's not going to be able to bring in already. There's a lot of players
then that's on Chelsea. That's not on Pochettino. What I'm saying is, yeah, but I'm not disputing that. That's on Chelsea. If Chelsea choose to not give Pochettino time, then it's not going to work. It's not going to work for any manager. What I'm telling you is, in spite of that, there should be a base standard that Chelsea cannot drop under. Because I don't care what you say about how the signings have performed. This Chelsea team are way too good to not be in the mix for top 4. It's that simple. A good manager has Chelsea competing or finishing in the top 4 with less fixtures to worry about next year, and ideally more reign on the squad in terms of who you want to keep, who you want to sell. Why can't the target be top 4? If he doesn't get top 4 and they get 5th, but you see progression, style of play, etc., building blocks, I can understand. But that's completely different.
But as it stands, you're saying is that an assumption that everything's going to click in the transfer window?
No,
or are you saying this? You going by the team they have now?
I don't think you're listening to what I'm saying. I'm not saying everything is going to click. I'm saying there should be a standard that you shouldn't drop below. If you're finishing 7th or 8th, that's sacking ground. That's grounds for sacking at Chelsea. Don't matter what you've been throwing. That's grounds for sacking.
It doesn't matter what
Chris Hall
team
in the
you
chat
have.
has summed it
Doesn't
up
matter what you've
perfectly,
been
man.
given.
Can I ask?
What do you mean? What you've been given?
Can I ask Lewis a question?
Go on, Errol.
Lewis, again, time is always of the essence in the transfer window. If you had the choice now, because I think you've probably got a bloated squad, considering you're not going to be in Europe next year. If you had the choice to purely focus your business on trimming the fat or getting in the new players that you think are still required, but you can only do one or the other, where would you be focusing your time and attention in the summer?
I'd want. I'd end up wanting to bring in more players. I'm sorry. There's players I got here that I don't want to see again. There's a lot of players that need. I know there's players that need to leave, but there needs to be replacements for those players. So I would rather have those replacements in. But we're gonna prioritize the clear out anyway. That's happening before July. Like there's gonna be a couple players that end up leaving over the next month. And yeah, good. The sooner the better.
Who's out of contract, Lewis? Is there many out of contract?
Kante's out of contract, but I think he's going to resign.
Mount.
Aubameyang's got another year left. Mount's got a year left.
Who do you want gone though, Lewis? Who are the guys that you don't want to see at the club again?
Okay, Mount, Ziyech, Pulisic, Havertz. I'd let Gallagher go. Who else? Aubameyang, Mendy, Kepa. Oh yeah, Aspi respectfully, but yeah, he can go. Kovacic.
Which keep Cucurella?
Yeah, Cucurella could go. One more person. Koulibaly I'd get rid of. Yeah, I feel like that's it.
That's it.
Apparently Ruben Loftus-Cheek as well is thrown into that. Callum Hudson.
Yeah, Ruben's going to go AC, but I wouldn't mind keeping him. I think he's good depth. But I don't mind if he goes either because he's on 150k a week. You can't really have depth on that wage, so it is what it is.
What about Hudson-Odoi?
Well, Hudson-Odoi's come back. Yeah, get rid of him. Do you see how Leverkusen said farewell to him for 1 week before the end of the season? He's not had any GNA there, and it's the Bundesliga. I'm good, man. Thanks to the Europa League run and everything, but you gotta go. You're on 120k. Lukaku as well. Him too. He can go.
Lewis, you're going to be a fucking busy man taking them to the airport, mate.
Oh no, they can walk. Except for Aspi. I'll get Aspi a cab.
Yeah, they'd raise the funds though. That's the thing. Not all of them will go, but there's a lot of them that could genuinely leave the club. And they will raise funds.
At least 8 will go.
Chelsea's outgoings could stabilize the whole transfer market, because those players haven't earned their crust to be getting some of the price tags that you might be touting out there for certain positions and certain players. Not like
Chelsea will get it.
No, but let's
a lot will go on the cheap. A lot will go on the cheap.
But that's what I'm saying. Let's remember Hudson. How much did Bayern ask for Hudson-Odoi a couple of seasons ago? Was it 3 or 4 seasons ago?
Million.
70 mil. How much are you looking to sell him for now at the flea market?
I'd get a tenner. I won't lie.
There we go. So when you're looking to wholesale, get rid of a whole fresh 11, and you're literally just giving them away. Hopefully that does readjust the market when you're looking at what you can get other wingers for. People will take a punt on a Pulisic for 25, 35 mil as opposed to getting.
He's about that price too.
Say that again.
He's about that price as well. From what
That's what I'm saying. People would take the punt on him as opposed to going down the road and trying to get a Zaha or a Saint Maximo or whoever. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just think it might. Say that again.
Isn't Zaha on a free?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's on a free.
Right, fair enough. But as I say,
he's on a free. Oh yeah, Chelsea needs to move. Unbelievable depth. Please.
They just want everyone, man. Lewis just wants 16 out and 16 in.
I just want some attackers, man. I'm just tired of what I have.
Yeah, I must admit, you could buy a whole new free at Chelsea, to be fair, in my opinion.
I need my depth too.
Can I ask Tobes a question?
Go on.
Tobes, we see obviously the news that the Wolves manager could go. Would you have him at Spurs?
Lopetegui? No,
Yeah.
not really.
Would you not have him?
No.
I was just thinking. Just thinking.
Fair enough.
You're in the market. You're in the market.
He's going to
How are you
leave
getting on with
already.
Nagelsmann?
I didn't
Has
know he was
Nagelsmann
leaving.
signed?
They're
know he
in
was
trouble.
leaving
Wolves
Wolves.
aren't. Wolves are in trouble. The FFP. They can't. They are like.
I'm not
Wow.
surprised. They spunk money like it's like they've got an endless pot of cash. Not
They're
Did
surprised at all.
Nagelsmann sign for Spurs? Or did I miss the boat?
Errol
No, he
trolling.
didn't.
Errol trolling. Let's move. I want to move. I don't want to go to Tobes. I don't want to go to Spurs yet. I don't want to go to Spurs yet.
Okay.
I gotta get
Is
Pete in,
that
man.
payback? Yeah. All right. Cool. All right, cool.
Keep that noted.
Right,
Keep
hey.
that noted, Tobes.
Hey,
Keep that
Tobes
noted,
is
Tobes.
making the note. Errol,
He's got another
making
note.
the
He's got another note.
He's coming. He's coming.
Pete, while we're talking on Tobes and Lawless, so they can get their apologies ready. Congratulations, Pete. Well done, my friend. Top 4 secured. Champions League. I did say to you that you'd got it weeks ago. But that's how happy Tobes is. Well done, bruv. Honestly, like you deserve it. Eddie Howe's been amazing. Great season. You must be over the moon, man.
On a shoestring budget
Keep
as well,
going.
mate. On a
Keep
shoestring
going.
budget.
Go on.
Yeah, buzzing.
Go on.
Absolutely
You're
buzzing.
gonna write their end of season program as well, Potts.
Yeah, I'm in it, mate. I'm in it. I've got a section.
No, honestly, buzzing. Absolutely buzzing. 20 years since we last played Champions League. I'd never, you guys, week in, week out, I've played it down. You guys have bigged it up. But until you get it, you can never, ever be confident. But we're there. And yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing. Easily 2 years before we anticipated getting Champions League football. So what that brings potentially with sponsors and potential signings in the summer, who knows? But we're just enjoying the moment right now because we never expected it to happen so soon. And yeah, bring on the Champions League. And first thing I did this morning, just check the passport, make sure that it's all good. Because yeah, we're headed out there. If you're going to ask me who I want in the Champions League, don't really care.
Well, you're in pot
you
4,
don't
aren't
Not
you?
PSG to reunite with your brother. Go see your brother up in Paris.
100%. I've already said on my channel last night when I was asked who I wanted to PSG. I'd love that. Me and the bro going together to the game. Yeah, it'll be all good. It'll mean a lot, to be fair, because I won't be a Newcastle fan if it wasn't for him. He's a little bit older than me, and he started taking me to games when I wasn't old enough to go to support Newcastle home and away. And obviously he's took me to PSG to watch a couple of games as well, and it'd be nice to go together. So PSG for sure, but look, bring on anybody because we're just going to enjoy the moment.
Who cares, man? You're in there. Who cares who you get?
I'm getting emotional. It's all you can have. You've said it now. You've said your bit. That was the best performance of the season. You can have my spot in Champions League. Yeah, I give you that.
Your spot, yeah, your spot.
What a
Your spot,
crock
your
of
spot.
absolute shit.
Your spot. Oh,
What
okay.
a crock. Hang on, let's just call this guy out, right? For the first few months when they were doing awful, we had humble Errol. Well, it's just not going right. So, it's just one of them, lads. It's one of them. Then for fucking the last 6 weeks, look at him. Trent's doing fucking madness, mate. Fucking madness. Fucking sound. And now, fantastic, mate. Fucking love you. Fucking love you. Oh,
Errol, you genuinely thought you had us on the ropes, and although you wanted to kind of replace Man United in the top 4, I think most, like people in the media did as well, expected Newcastle to fall away because we've got the least experience. But that was the most pleasing thing for us, really, is what we did against Brighton on Thursday and getting the job done against Leicester. Don't care whether we won or lost. Won or drew against Leicester. We got the point. We got there. We did the business. And that shows me that the players that we've got currently have got a bit of character about them. They've got a little bit of steel. That when the pressure's on, that we can still get over the line and do what we needed to do. Of course, we're going to
have to see Dan Burn on Champions League nights against the
world. There you go. To be fair,
you'll spend now. You'll
well, if you're going to ask me what we're going to sign, there's clear positions we need to sign. I think most Newcastle fans in the chat would agree. We need a first choice left back. We need a right centre back to fight for Shaw for his position. We need a number 6. We're linked with Kefram Turam and one or two others in that position. We need a right or left winger to come in, depending on who it is that's available. There are kind of 4 main positions that we need to strengthen in the first team. Szoboszlai, we've been linked with Dominic Szoboszlai at Leipzig, 70 million buyout clause. He's a top class player. He's the alternative to Maddison that we'll look at. And speaking to a lot of Newcastle fans, they wouldn't be sad about missing out on Maddison if he goes to Tottenham if we get Szoboszlai, because arguably his stats are by far greater. But we are apparently heavily linked with him, so we're looking at him. Todibo is N9NE. Todibo has had another good season at Nice. He looks the part. So there's players there we're going to look at. Tierney, we had a show tonight, and one of our Newcastle journalists said that Tierney looks like it could well be a done deal to Newcastle. In the summer, it'd be a good signing left back. So
Dan
there are
Potts'
options there.
transfer to Newcastle will be fully complete when that happens. He will fully be converted to a Newcastle fan once Tierney signs for the Geordies.
I love Tierney, man.
You just
I
said
love
that.
Tierney.
You just said that the players had showed a little bit of character when the pressure was on. Fair enough, the pressure. There was the pressure applied there by obviously Man U and us. And now, as a fan, are you prepared that you're going to have to start to get used to the pressure cooker that you're going to be in? Because it doesn't get any easier from this point. Like, all Newcastle fans can be happy after this season, and yet this season is a not necessarily a free hit, but the fact that you've done it so soon on, you just can live and enjoy the moment. But everything from next season, the first game of next season, every single game, there's going to be the expectation now. And if the players are already putting that upon themselves, it has to be in tandem with the fans. We as I don't even want to call it. I'll just use Liverpool as an example. We can have the expectations that we do it, but when the team aren't on sync, you let yourselves down. So it can go
And
the
you
other
know
way.
what? On the back of that, what Errol's saying, Pete, and he's right, is this season has been, where the hell have Newcastle come from? Wow. You're not going to get that next season. You're there now. So it's not going to be this relaxed
No more dick
Newcastle.
riding.
Don't
No
matter.
more dick riding.
No more getting excited, me, especially if Tierney's there. So yeah, and that's a serious question. Like, for me, is I think Eddie Howe is up for manager of the year. For me, Pep's going to get it. We all know why. But for me, if it wasn't him, I'd pick Eddie Howe. I did not see Newcastle coming third. I didn't. I thought they would come 7th or 8th this season, and then they might do next and a bit more madness when they spent more money and then flirt with Champions League. To get it now has been incredible. But I wanted to ask you, Pete, because I looked at the team of the season that Gary Neville and Carragher did, which was weird in parts. And I wanted to put forward it was weird. I wanted to put forward some of your Newcastle players, the ones that have done you good this season. Because for me, I think Botman and Shah have been outstanding. Trippier deserves a mention. Pope in goal. I think also going forward, though, you've had some brilliant players. I like Bruno Guimaraes a lot. I do. Joe Linton is one of the first names on the team sheet. Isak, I'm a massive fan. Yeah. There's 6 or 7 players there in your first 11 that probably might end up fighting for competition for places next season. I know it's about that, but are you ready for that? Like, is that fair? Do you know what I'm trying to get at?
It's more than fair. Look, you got me. This is where we want to be. This is where we want to be. Like, I'm talking to you guys. You've got Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham's. You guys all spend big money. You're always up there every season after season. You guys have got an array of talent and squads that
West Ham.
Conference League
finalists 2022, 2023.
Yeah.
Big up.
You've
Got away with that. Lawless is selective hearing, I think.
You've got a squad of players where you've not just got a good first 11. You've got a good backup 11 as well, and you've got good alternatives there. This is what a squad game's all about. It's about pushing players. So, for example, we talked about a right centre back to come in to push Shaw. Shaw's 31 years old. He's had a great season. It's been unbelievable. But just like we did with Dan Burn was great the back half of last season. What we went and did is go and get Sven Botman. And Sven Botman's now first choice. We're going to go and do the same with Fabian Shaw. We're going to go and get a right centre-back who then fights for Shaw for first choice. And that is about building a squad. That's what it's going to be. And you talked about pressure. Every single one of you guys have got pressure. That's what makes you the teams that you are. And it's not always going to be successful. Of course, we've been talking about up and down seasons. Tobe's not had a great season. Lewis ain't had a great season. It could flip around next season. Tobes and Lewis could be up there buzzing because they're up there fighting at the right end of the table. It may well not be, but this is the reality of when you're fighting at the top end of the table. And I tell you what, I would much rather be fighting at the top end of the table and fighting with you guys week in, week out, whether we win, lose, or draw, than I would be where we have been for many a year down at the bottom. And look, this Newcastle team, could this same Newcastle squad of players go and do it again next season on four fronts? No, it won't. But this is why we're going to go and invest, and we'll go and sign players. And we have to, if we're going to fight on four fronts, we're going to play Champions League. But this is all part of us building and becoming a better team. I take on the pressure. I encourage it because this is what it's all about. I talked to you guys last week and I said, this is the business end of the season. Dan, you said, Dan Man United fan, you said to me on our chat, big game against Brighton. What did I say? They're all big games. This is the business end of the season. This is where it matters. This is where I want my team to be. Is fighting at the top end of the table. We might not always be successful, but this is where I want us to be year in, year out.
That's fair. I think I do think whilst it is going to be harder for Newcastle next year, and I mean harder in a sense where teams won't take you for granted. I feel like teams learned probably towards the back end of last season that you guys were cooking something, and I think this season it's come on even further. And now I feel like next season teams are now going to start to counteract that and say, "Hey, look, we can't play like this against Newcastle because they play like the better side in the league, and they'll destroy." So I do think teams will definitely set up and be less open against Newcastle. But that being said, I think you have the caliber of players and the capital to circumvent that as well. I think the key thing for you guys is you've actually got a coach who's actually been able to incorporate a style that fits with how the best teams in Europe are playing, high press, and he's managed to mix the physicality into it as well. High press, very aggressive team, very resolute without the ball. So, as a Newcastle fan, to be honest, I would be crazy excited when you think about it. Champions League, extra revenue coming in, and you got the Saudi ownership as well. Like you're looking at your team now, and you're like, "Rah, this could actually be like a football manager sort of thing." Like now you got Champions League football. It opens up the door on the caliber of player that you can actually sign. So whilst it's going to be tougher, without a doubt, to maintain the standard you set this season because you're having to play Saturday, Tuesday, and you're going to have to play your best players because it's the Champions League. It also presents an opportunity to actually see where you are as a side in terms of where you want to be, right? This is where you want it to be. Next year, you're going to be able to see, okay, cool. Like, have we done enough to actually be considered a Champions League side? How are we going to fare against some of these amazing teams? And then even from a personal perspective as well, you get to go to all these away grounds, man. It's great. It's great traveling to watch a team.
Just so I can translate for Toby. What that means is, Pete, I'm really sorry for laughing at you when Potts invited you on the show. That's what he was saying, really. There. All right, calm. Does anybody else on the panel?
When they finish sixth next season? Yeah, let's see what we're saying. Yeah,
It's interesting.
Does anybody else believe that Eddie Howe doesn't deserve Manager of the Year after Pep, who's clearly going to get it?
No, I think he deserves it. Eddie Howe
deserves it.
Do you think Pep will get it? I don't know.
He's going to do a treble, man. He's going to get it.
Yeah, but the Manager of the Year comes out before the FA Cup and the Champions League final.
Why do you think he wouldn't get it though? Like this season, it's always the winner of the league normally, let alone two people that has got into two finals. Other than that, I mean, I would love to see Eddie Howe get it just because I don't want Pep to get it.
Give it to Deservy, man. Deservy.
Now give it to Moyes.
Your little Moyes ain't gonna work on me, yeah. It's not gonna undo.
If it meant him signing a new deal,
oh mate, take it. Listen, he would. He just wants that European trophy. Big up, Pete. Well, congrats to Newcastle.
Thanks,
And I hope you
Appreciate
enjoy
it, boys.
Champions League, man. I'm going to enjoy it next year as well. So we'll be there together, brother.
Why are you saying that, Dan? Apparently, we're just there to make numbers up anyway. If you listen to what Lawless
Oh yeah,
said.
Lawless says I like this. Lawless, Tobes missed that, by the way. He missed that. Or was Tobes there for that? Anyway,
No,
it doesn't
no.
matter. I'm not going through it again. It was absolutely ridiculous what he was saying. It was just
it really
embarrassing.
made a lot of sense, but you know,
It didn't make any sense at all. Let's talk about your bubble blowing club. You're going to be in the final in a couple of weeks' time. You're going to win it. You've told everybody on this panel, everybody listening, everybody on the other show that you're going to win it. So talk me through it, man. How's it going to happen?
listen, you know, we're gonna be in a European final, a real one. You know, commiserations to D. Obviously, Crystal Palace today sadly lost the huge Premier League International Cup against PSV. Poor D, he's crying, he's booing a bunch of children, you know, as they lift their trophy. I mean, boy, it's a dark day to be a Palace fan, but it's a great day to be a West Ham fan because trophy, a real UEFA recognized trophy. Yes, look it up. A UEFA recognized trophy is on the horizon. It's in our grasp. It's I'm not going to say that. I nearly quoted Robbie. Don't quote that, man. It's only going to bring you misery. It's close. It's close. I can almost smell it. So look, I'm on this show, Race for Europe. I'll be
It's in
getting
your hands, and you've got bigger fish to fry. So come on.
I didn't say that. I didn't say it.
Oh,
I
no.
did not say that. But I've been having a lot of shit on this show going, what's Lawless doing on this show? How is he on a Race for Europe? How's he on a Race for Europe show? Oh, and look, I'm in a European final. Yeah? Chelsea have already lost the Race for Europe. Spurs are about to lose the Race for Europe, and Tobes is going to try and twist it into a positive when it's really not. And West Ham...
How am I going to try and twist it into a positive?
Because you are, I'd rather be in 8th, and I want to be in 8th, and this is going to show the board.
It's a failure to miss out on Champions League qualification. It's a positive to not be in the Conference League.
No, see that, yeah, but that's, and even your fans have
You're
actually
not wrong.
clowned you for
You're
your
not wrong.
pathetic mentality.
I don't care. It's my opinion.
Pathetic mentality. This is why
Okay.
you're a team of losers. Loser mentality.
I'm
Loser.
sure you know all about losing. I'm sure you know all about losing.
All of these little comebacks you won't be able to have on June
It's a
8th,
comeback.
mate.
It's facts.
June
The
8th.
cheek of you talking about losing. You've not won a trophy in like 50 years.
Okay, you keep saying that, but listen, you've only got what, a couple weeks more for you to be able to say that. Yeah,
Yeah.
a couple more
Right, let
weeks.
me get my notes.
So get them in. Get them in. I'll make your notes. Listen, when we win this trophy, right? I want you to publish those notes. I want you to publish those. I'll even sign the copies and everything. We can split the profits 50-50, put them to charity, whatever you like. Yeah, but I want those published.
Does Moyes stay if he wins the Europa Conference?
Of course he does. Of course
Well,
he
there's
does.
big question marks. I see a report yesterday.
There's no big
Why
question
is
mark.
there?
You're crazy.
Why is there question marks?
Because he might not
I
want
thought
to
he was
stay.
retiring.
He might not. Yeah, he might not want to stay. We don't know what he's gonna do. We don't know what plans he has for his career. He might stay. He might not. I
How
saw a
long's left
report
on his
that
contract?
says
How long's left on his contract?
1 year.
So next season, he's still got all the next season. to
Next
go.
season's his last year.
So like Declan Rice.
Well, no,
will
he hasn't
decide-
got we haven't got an
he might
extension
decide.
on.
He might decide, yeah, I've had enough, I'm going, but he won't get sacked like you think he was going to. It's crazy.
Well, it depends because if I don't know if you saw the report that if the Glazers don't sell to the Qataris don't get Man United, they're looking at West Ham. So if we do get these
Where did that?
Qataris,
What source said that? What source has said that, please?
I need to go and check it.
HD.
We had like 20 million followers, so you know what I mean.
Tobes, are they
big
going to
source.
get taken over by West Ham? These Qataris guys.
No, they're not. It's ridiculous. He's just.
How is that ridiculous? How is it
He's a
ridiculous?
muppet. He's an absolute
How?
muppet. Like I
How?
don't even know
How?
why he.
How?
Because
How?
the sources unsubstantiated.
You can't even
It's
say it.
a
You
fugazi
can't
source.
even say it.
It's a fugazi source. What was the source? What was the source? El Paz. You've literally never heard of the source before, and you're just running around believing it.
It weren't just them; it was the Sun as well. I know that.
We'll find
I know,
out on
sorry,
Friday.
I know that.
Didn't
Dan
get
Danny's
named.
and that. I know they're baddies. I'm just saying it was multiple.
By your logic, Spurs are going to get taken over by Qataris as well, because I read some random fugazi source that apparently if Man United deal fell apart, they were going to come and target Spurs. It's bullshit.
We'll know Friday, won't we? Friday's when the bid
It makes absolute sense. I'm just saying it makes absolute sense for them.
What does?
It's not credible. It's not about
For them
whether it
to
makes
buy
sense.
West
It's
Ham.
not credible information.
Why does it
It's not
make sense for them to
credible
buy West Ham, please?
How much for Lawless? What's the price? How much are you
So the price is about 600 to 800 million.
Really? Wow.
That's the price range they're looking at. And then there's going to be what's
Everton
that?
That's cheap, no? Everton are up for 600 mil.
Yeah, it's cheap, but obviously they're not buying a stadium with it.
That's
They're
not buy
buying
a 5 bed in London for 600 mil.
No, listen, just sit down.
They
Tops,
are.
anyway.
We got
Everton are a big club.
150,
Everton are a big club, and they've got a new stadium on the horizon.
Yeah, but their stadium's not old though, and like you can't buy a fucking 5 bed in London for less than so many millions of bags nowadays. Like that's prime real estate.
Yeah,
like that
Here we
alone.
go. I've just typed it in. The first these are the sources that come up. The Sun, the Metro, West Ham Zone, Hammers News, Football Fancast, West Ham, the Mirror, and West Ham Zone.
The Mirror. Errol, they're all right, innit? They're okay.
They're not. They're
All
shit.
right.
What are you talking about, bro?
They're not the Sun. Down with the Sun, right, Errol? We're good with Mirror, right?
You're trolling.
I just want to make sure. No, right? We're good with the Mirror. Mirror are good. My cousin used to work at the Mirror, man. He used to be the head of sport there.
They're not offensive, but they're not like fucking top tier like football sources, are they?
They're one of the biggest papers in this country. At the end of the day, do you know what I mean? And all I'm saying is, there's no smoke without fire. You get for say 600, 800 million, right? You buy the club, then you get the stadium at a cut price deal. You're going to get it at a cut price deal because they're desperate to leave. And then you also have a chance, and this is what Pi Capital were trying to do and negotiate. And they actually got an agreement with the owners of the land to buy it, but they couldn't get agreement with the club to buy the land around the stadium. So not just the stadium, the park itself, the whole Olympic Park, right? That's huge. So with that, like Errol said, prime real estate, London club, something to build. It just makes sense. So you know what I mean? Like it's potentially on the horizon. I think a sale could be happening. I think Sullivan's too old now. The Golds family, with the tragedies that they've had, will probably be looking to sell up. Kretinsky, we don't know what his intentions are, if he's looking long term.
Yeah, we do. He's going to sort.
Yeah, you do. You told us he's going to buy a bigger stake and pump money into it.
He might do, but he's an investor. He might flip those shares if the Qataris come in.
But you spoke with such certainty that you've got new money coming in.
If the Qataris come in,
no, there was no if. You told us Rosinski, whatever his name is, was going to pump money into your club. Now you're coming with Qataris.
Well, we obviously already has. He already has. We spent 200 million this season, so he already has pumped money in, hasn't he? He already has pumped money in, right?
Where are you in the league?
Yeah, but the talk was when he first put the money in, he was going to come after the big stake. He was going to come after the big stake in the club.
Listen, he's increased it. He increased his stake, obviously. But if a deal comes in and he can make a massive profit on his shares, then it's a no-brainer. He's a businessman. So he's not going to sit there and go, well, I'm not going to sell to Qataris because I'm a big West Ham fan, all that shit. No, like he's going to do it. So look, everything's up in the air at the moment. But one thing that isn't is the fact that we're in a European final. And like I said, the only ones in a European final, the only team on this show that made it that far, right? When we're in a race for Europe. And guess what happens? When we win that Europa League, Europa Conference League final, we get in Europa League. So we're back again in Europe.
And we're all in the mud. Is that right?
Yes. I mean, there's going to be a lot of mud.
Can we change the name of the show to Race for Champions League next season, please?
Well, listen. Once you
who's in the mud? Who's in the mud, Lawless? Who's in the mud?
Obviously, Tobes is definitely in the mud, 100%. We're guaranteed mudded. Lewis, I'm sorry, mate. You know you're in the mud. We can't deny it. Errol in the mud. Errol in the mud.
Errol's in the mud.
Pete, I'll allow Pete because obviously, look, it's a big progress. It's a big day for Newcastle. They've made Champions League. Even though they won a trophy, they've taken a big step forward in their history. They're living it up back in Europe in massive style. So not in the
Stop
mud.
sucking them off, Lawless. Come on, calm down.
United first or United F1
positively, man.
United, yeah. Unwanted F1 roast.
Why are we in the mud?
No, you're not. You're in the mud. You're in the dirt. You know, it's not quite.
Why are we in
muddy.
the dirt?
You've won a trophy. You've won a trophy. Yeah.
Why are we in the fucking dirt?
We're in the dirt. We're in the dirt. Right. I'm just saying the shoes are a little bit dirty. Yeah. There's a little bit of
your shoes are dirty.
Yeah. Right. You're gonna lose the FA Cup. Right. Okay. Fair enough. You're in the Champions League, but the same way. Right, you've been talking shit on West Ham all season, and we've won a better trophy than you won. Okay,
what have you won? What have you won?
You haven't won it,
you haven't fucking won it yet, you donut.
Well, we're talking hypothetically. We're saying
you said we've won a better trophy.
You said we've won. You said we've won.
Let's hypothetically ask the chat, which is the more prestigious trophy, the Carabao Cup or the Europa Conference?
I take the Johnston trophy over that.
Let me answer this for you, Errol. Right? Guess what? And Tobes made a big play of this year when he was talking about trophies. When we had this conversation last time, when I think it was Clubs Khan just saying, "Oh, this trophy gets you, this competition, and this trophy gets you that competition." Guess what? The Carabao Cup gets you entry into the Conference League. If you win that, you qualify for Conference League. If you win the Conference League, you qualify for the Europa League. There we go. Case closed. Let's just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you said we've won. You said we've won.
Well, we would have. I'm putting myself. We're talking as if we've won it.
Got it down. Tobes has got it down. It's all good.
I'm saying you would have been mudded if and when we win this.
Why will we be mudded? I don't understand what you're fucking saying.
Listen, D, sit down. You could even win that fake fucking cup that's not UEFA recognised. So sit your ass down. Yeah, you're so pissed because if you would have won that, we would have not heard the end of it, but you didn't. You got slapped up, yeah. Your team got slapped up in your own back garden, yeah. So sit down while you're sitting there booing children, yeah. Go back to booing some children, yeah. Sure, there's a primary school around the corner or something. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, look, you're gonna try and downplay it. But we win this, we've won a trophy, European one. So you can try and downplay it. You can try it. Okay.
Will it be like the biggest?
I can't even handle it. I can't
in
handle
West Ham's history since you've been a fan. Like I know you was a Newcastle fan when you was a youth, but since you've been like a teenager and that, will it be the biggest day in their history for you?
Well, if we win it.
Yeah,
if we win it, yeah, I can't lie.
What has he got to compare it with?
I feel sorry for you, lad. That's not even a snobby thing. I just feel sorry for you. If I'd go and watch cricket and pick a cricket team if my proudest memory as a football fan was watching my team lift the Conference Cup, and that's not even to banter. That's just
you can say the same about Tobes, though. Look at Tobes. You can say the
Tobes
same about
next season.
Tobes, if Tottenham gets Tobes isn't telling me that it's the best thing since sliced bread.
Tobes has chest galore. He sits there chucking it to me about trophies, and all he's seen win is a League Cup.
Anything I say on trophies is as a result of you taking the piss out of Spurs for not winning trophies.
No, it's not. It's not.
Yes, it is. Yes, absolutely. Yes, it is. And I always ask you, where do you get off with your lip? Where do you get off of your lip criticizing Spurs for not winning shit when you don't win anything? That doesn't.
No, but this is what I'm saying. This is how you misunderstand.
It's like me saying to Lewis, "Oh my God, Chelsea, you don't win.
You have so much chest for Chelsea. You have the biggest chest for Chelsea of any fan I've
ever seen. Go on, Lawless. Get out of your system. You're getting red.
How dare you?
He looks like Dr. Robotnik.
How dare you?
Listen. Comprehension is not your strong point.
It's not your.
I didn't say you can't come for Spurs, right? I said to you that me talking to you about trophies is as a result of you trying to sit on Spurs for their inability to win a trophy. And I find it. Let me challenge your comprehension. I would never criticize Chelsea for not winning silverware. Never. Never.
Let me challenge your comprehension. Let's talk about your comprehension
Go on.
because I've never come at Spurs and said, "Ha ha ha, Spurs
Yes,
don't
you
win
have.
trophies." What I
Yes,
say,
you have.
listen,
Yes,
comprehension.
you have.
Let me explain this
What?
to you.
Are you listening to
Let
what this guy
me
said?
explain it. My
Let him,
point.
let him
man.
try to explain this. I don't know
No.
what he's saying, but
This is my point when I bring up Spurs and trophies, yeah, is when you try and say that there's this gulf, yeah, of difference between West Ham and Spurs. What I say
There
is you don't win trophies and neither do we. We win the same amount of trophies every season, yeah? That is my point. It's not my point of going, haha, you don't win trophies, but we do. That's never been what I've said. Comprehension is not your strong point. It's always been the difference between Spurs and West Ham is so negligible. We win the same thing every
How is it
season.
negligible?
Zero.
You've been
But this
relegated.
season's
I don't
different.
even want to
This
take up a
season's
conversation
different.
with this. How is it negligible? That doesn't make sense. That by your logic, there's no difference between Spurs and Nottingham Forest then this season. By your logic,
Yeah, but
There's no
Nottingham
difference
Forest has
between-
spent years, have just literally just come from the Championship.
So
They've
what?
literally just
So
come
what?
up. They've
By
been
your
in a
logic,
different
we've not won
division.
by your logic, we've not won anything this season. We both not
Yeah.
won anything this season.
If
we must
Nottingham
be on the same
Forest
level. We must be
sustain,
on the same level.
if
Allow
Nottingham
it, man,
Forest
please.
sustain
Allow it, bro.
themselves in the league,
Allow it,
do you know
man.
what I mean?
Allow it,
You
allow
look
it.
at yourselves
If
as this
you're gonna-
super
if you're
team.
gonna criticize,
Guys, I'm
You
going to
look
bounce.
at
Big
yourself
up
as
everybody.
Lewis,
Have a
love,
great
bruv,
weekend.
love, brother.
Say it,
Cheers.
Lewis.
Top
You
man,
look
bro.
at yourself
Criticize-
as this
criticize
super
fair.
team, and you're not. That's the point. I'm not trying to push West Ham up on a level.
Yes,
I'm
you
trying
are.
to bring
Yes,
you
you are.
down.
That is
I'm
literally
trying
what you
to
do.
bring you
You
down.
constantly
to
push.
reality.
Yes, you
No,
are.
I'm
Yes,
not.
you are. There's
It's
there's
bringing you
four
down.
men on this platform that will speak to you constantly doing that. At the start of the season, you're trying to equate West Ham to Man United's level, and you're even questioning, why is it
Hold
so
the phone.
inconceivable?
Hold the
Wait.
phone.
I ain't finished. Why is
Oh,
it
go
so
on.
inconceivable that West Ham? I'm like, what are you talking about? What gives you this right to think that you're a better side than Man United? What gives you the right? What gives you the right? Honestly, you say.
Oh my God.
I'll finish on this. You say you
Oh
don't put West Ham on. You don't try to. Yes, you do. You do it all the time. You always shoehorn West Ham into these conversations. You always try to equate West Ham to what these clubs are doing. You take this. You shit on Spurs. You've battered Spurs all season. You've probably spent as much money as us this season, and you're like, we've had probably one of our worst seasons in years, and you're still like, how many points behind Spurs? And yet you try and tell
We're in
me
a
that
European
you don't
trophy, you fool. In a European final. We're in a European
You're gonna
final.
win it. You're gonna win it.
They've already won it, Tobes. They've already won it. Tobes
think
have already
everyone
won
else
it. It's just
here
said.
would put who you putting money on, us or Fiorentina? Everyone here.
Fiorentina.
I know some of you are
Fiorentina.
going to go, I don't bet. But if you did,
Fiorentina.
Fiorentina.
Do you not think it's mad? The Italian clubs this season have absolutely destroyed the European competitions. They got left out of the World Cup and took that shit personal.
all right. Well, we'll see.
Bro,
But I have to respond to this Man United
count
thing because I'm not letting that
don't-
stand.
Yeah, but don't count your chickens. Is all.
I'm just saying, like, I feel like we could have every right to be confident, right? But on this stupid Man United point that Tobes just made, yes, I had every right to feel like we could finish above Man United this season.
Oh,
we finished.
fuck off.
Shut up.
What? No,
crummy
you shut
bastard.
up, you
Sit
Cuban.
down.
What the hell are you
Sit down.
talking about?
Sit
What are you
down.
talking about?
Sit
You had,
down.
no.
Sit down.
Oh, I
Shut up.
can't
No
take
one's
this
even
anymore.
talking to you. No
Can't
one's even
take this
talking to
anymore.
you. No
My
one's
feet are in the
talking
mud.
to
You've
you.
been in the fucking
No
river
one's
all
talking
season.
to you.
You come at
No
fuck
one
off.
is talking to
Fuck
you.
off.
Right now, back
Oh
to
my
the bias.
days.
We had mute him, please, Potts. Mute this clown. Right.
Oh,
I had every right, and I tell
Man
you
said,
why.
meet this clown.
Let me tell you the logic. Let me tell you where this has come from. We finished 1 point off of Man United last season. Literally 1 point off of them. Right. We went then and spent a lot of money, like 160, 70 million in the summer. Right. Made some sound signings, kept our best players, and had a chance to build. And whilst we was in what's a not as hot, a less difficult competition than we were in last season, right? Whereas Man United still had their problems with Ronaldo at the time I made that prediction. There was every reason. They had a new manager coming in with a load of players. Like, I'm sorry. No, I'm just going to say this. I'm going to say this. If you don't see the logic in that, you're fucking stupid. You're fucking stupid. You're fucking stupid.
It's not about not seeing the logic, bro.
No,
You
but
do
what
this
have I
all the
said? No,
time.
tell me. Because listen, no. Listen, Dan United, all he can do is do his stupid little head shakes and turn his back because the fool cannot pick the fucking holes in what I have said. Pick the fucking holes in what I have said beyond we're Man United and you're West Ham. You finished below Newcastle. You're Man United. They're
How have we
Newcastle.
finished below Newcastle, you dickhead? We got a game in hand on them, and
Oh,
we're fucking
wank
2 points
over it.
behind them.
Fucking what? You're the biggest club in the world. You're finishing. Oh well,
We're
you're
a
going to
bigger
finish
club
above
than you,
Newcastle
pal.
with
We're
a
a fucking
Carabao.
bigger club than you. Fucking
Whoopty
hell.
fucking doodah. Have a wank.
You come at
you-
you come at us. It's absolute bullshit, Lawless. It's
How
absolute
is it?
bullshit.
No, don't just say these general things. I want you to actually use your words and logic, right? What I said there, we finished a point of Man United, the mighty Man United that we couldn't hope to be in the same breath as, finished 1 point off of you last season. Massively spent in the summer to improve our squad. Yes, in hindsight, we can all look in hindsight. Hasn't worked out, right? When you look at it, kept our best players, improved. Ultimately, the squad feeling was positive. You had a new manager coming in who inherited a mess, an absolute mess, a squad that was down in the dumps, that the morale was on the floor. We heard all these stories of what was going on behind the scenes. Yeah, there was every logic to think that we had a chance to finish above Man United, and to say otherwise is, I'm sorry, it's stupid. And I don't want you to sit there and go, it's bullshit, that's this. I want you to sit there and explain why. Explain why that is crazy for me to say after we finished a point behind you last season. Go on.
Okay.
I have no words, Lawless. I've got
Exactly.
nothing to
Sit
say.
down.
No,
I know you're sitting down, but sit down.
Lawless. Your argument is absolutely ridiculous. It
See
is.
what I mean? This
It's
is what I'm
absolutely
saying.
ridiculous. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say?
Fucking
What do you want me to
explain
say?
it. Explain it. This is what I'm saying. You can sit there and say it's ridiculous, it's bullshit, but you can't say why. You have no argument.
Because there's
You have
no point,
argument.
Lawless.
Actual outrage
Because
and
Lawless,
indignant because you're arrogant.
there is no
You're
logic. There's no logic in talking to you about this. There is no logic in what you're saying there. Newcastle at the start of the season, you could say that. You could say Newcastle could potentially finish.
Fuck off with Newcastle.
Let me finish. Let me finish. You've sat there and gone, oh, he's turning his head. He's shaking his head. I'm trying to talk, and you're fucking butting in.
Acting like a twat without any fucking response to what I'm saying. Literally, I want you to sit there and respond to the points I made. Stop.
Can you let me fucking talk then? Can you let me talk then? Instead of get out your fucking spare room in your box room and let me fucking talk.
Long in it out.
Let him come
Just
back.
stop fucking being a drama queen and
Let
respond
him
to
come
what I'm
back. Let him
saying.
come back. Let him come back. Let him come back.
Fucking hell. Honestly, unreal. The reason that there was no way you were going to finish above us this season is we brought in a manager who has absolute class, who has been and won stuff. You have got a manager who has been famed for what? Getting Everton fourth and how many years ago? You've got a manager who, as you've said, had a great season the last season, the season before that, but then every other club he's been to before then was fucking sacked and done. He was done before he came back to West Ham. The players you brought in, whereas you said, yeah, they were good players, they were untested in the Premier League. Manchester United brought in players like Casemiro. Casemiro, who had just come from winning Champions League after Champions League after Champions League. He's come in, he has, from pre-season, worked with the players that he's had. He's dished out the people he can't have in that squad, and he's put the people in where he needs them to be. He's got rid of all of the backroom staff that were causing issues that he didn't think were up to it, and he's brought a playing staff in that can do the job. What on earth you are trying to say about you think that West Ham at the start of this season could finish above Man United is absolute joke. I don't care what fucking Turbo, what his name says. It's ridiculous. Your argument is flawed.
You can say it's wrong to say no. You can say it's wrong, yeah. But all of that shit that you said, the players that you signed were untested. You can say, yeah, you can talk about managers. You can talk about, Ten Hag. He was untested in the Premier League. Untested. At the same, we have to look at what Moyes. Yes, all of those things that you said about Moyes in the past is true. But right now, he finished sixth. The previous season, then he finished a point off of 6 off of Man United. And as someone said, your team was a mess. I never said that Moyes is a better manager than Ten Hag. I didn't say Ten Hag was going to flop. My whole thing was it's going to take time. It's a long-term process for Ten Hag. It's not going to click right away. And you know what? It clicks sooner than later. Obviously, you've fallen apart towards the end of what you did. But you can sit there and say, yeah, you were wrong to say that, or you know, I disagreed. But to say it's ridiculous or to say it's bullshit, I'm sorry, that is arrogance. That is pure and utter arrogance. Yeah, pure and simple. Like you literally, for you to say that and to say, oh, Ten Hag would be, you better hope, Ten Hag proves to be a hit at your club. You better hope he achieves more than a Carabao Cup and a 4th place finish. Yeah, honestly, with the way that you've bigged this guy up, as Tobes, let me take the line of Tobes. You must challenge next season. You must win more than a Carabao Cup because you are so arrogant. It is unbelievable. Sit down, eat your cake, and shut your mouth. There we go.
Well, I didn't expect any of that, but it's happened.
Fireworks, man. Fucking
Fireworks.
Oh, just I mean. You know what I mean?
In it, people like,
you gave the eye emoji, Errol. You just like.
I mean, like, I must admit, I thought Tobes was going to do that to you before Dan, but fair play, Dan. Well done, bruv. Like, fair play to you. Congrats. You've rattled him massively there, man. And that's not even rattled. That's just losing your head. He's gone off on the one.
Right. It's just that. It's that. No,
he started as a cue ball. Look how red he's gone.
I am.
Listen. As I said, Lawless, boy, you talk a big game. You talk a big game, right? You are the common denominator, right? Every single person outside of West Ham says the exact same thing I'm saying. So it's not just so
Danny's every single person. Dan
No,
United is
I didn't
every
mention
single
that.
person.
I didn't mention
Stop
that.
sucking his asshole.
I didn't mention that. I didn't mention that. I've not even mentioned Dan once here. I'm talking about my relationship with you. I'm talking about your relationship with other fans, other people who do their own fan channels.
And a lot of people say the same about you, though. A lot of people say the same about you. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'd like to hear that. My point is this: you constantly put West Ham on a playing field that they're not at. That's all. That's my only issue with you. You put West Ham on a playing field.
So if we finish in top 6, we're not in that playing field. If we finish there, if we're competing, that's like sitting there and saying Pete's not in the Champions League playing field because, you know, they're Newcastle. I'm sorry. If you get there, you've earned it and you have the right to feel that you're there, right? You've earned that. No one can say you fluked it over the course of the season. When we finished 6th, when we got in that top 6, we deserved it. We finished a point off of Man United. Okay, we bottled it, and I can say that we did bottle it. It was the end of the day. We handed it to Man United. We had every opportunity to finish above them that season, but it was that game against Brighton, yeah? And all of this talk about, you're putting yourself on a pedestal. No, I'm not saying as a club that we should be on the level of Man United. Man United are a far bigger club, but I'm looking at performances. Man United are a far bigger club than Newcastle, but there's every chance that Newcastle will finish above Man United this season. There's every chance that Newcastle will go further in the Champions League than Man United next season. Doesn't change anything. But
so Lawless, what you're saying then, mate? Can I just say what you're saying then is you're judging your best season on United's worst season. That's what you. That's where your ideology was coming from. Is that where I'm asking? Is that where your ideology come from? That you expected United to be worse than last season, and you expected to carry on where you were going and push forward? Is that where you're going with this?
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
Yeah, I expected there to be massive teething problems with Man United. I expected you to be not drop off a cliff. I never said you was going to finish in the bottom half, but I thought that I expected that we would improve just enough, not top 4 level, but just enough to finish above Man United, while you dealt with all of the behind the scenes and off the field issues that you were dealing with and trying to build and implement this new Ten Hag system. I never doubted Ten Hag and said he was a shit manager. To me, I thought it would take time. I thought this, and I even said to you, give Ten Hag this season. Give him that first season to deal with it.
But wasn't the argument, though? Wasn't the argument that Man United have to get better because last year was literally the worst, right? Last year was the worst.
They finished lower than 6th before, though.
So yeah, they finished. I'm talking in recent years.
Finished 7th, and who was manager of that? Moyes.
Yeah, but I'm sure you finished. Yeah, all right. But you finished outside the top 6 before, though, right? Since
only once.
Yeah, well, but it's happened. So you can't say it's their worst ever season, though.
Well, that was Moyes, and then Giggs for the last 4 games.
That's their worst season in recent years. right? That's their worst season in recent years, with money spent and a better manager coming in. It's wrong. The whole point was it's wrong for you to judge your ability to finish off above Man United based off their worst. Even them performing at a level that they have done this season, which isn't even that good, has blown you out of the water. Man United haven't even been that good this season. And the performances between you and them have been incomparable.
Yeah, because guess what?
Let me ask you
Guess
this,
what?
Wallace. Let me ask you this definitively, yeah?
That was the argument. And
Then I'll
you
put-
were the one that was denying that argument.
Hear me
No.
on this,
Alright,
Wallace. Right?
I'll hear you, and then I'm going to put Tobe's argument to bed.
Right.
Go on,
You
then,
are,
do it.
where are you in the league right now? What position?
I don't know, like 13, 14,
Okay,
13,
13, 14 in the Europa Conference League final.
Yeah.
Now that the season has panned out the way it has, would you trade places with Man United, or would you be where you are now?
So would I be?
Why are you thinking about
Carabao Cup and top four?
Carabao
Okay,
Cup
you can-
and an FA Cup final.
I mean, you can include the Carabao Cup. I was just thinking league position, but fuck it, yeah, include the Carabao Cup. I'll give you a trophy.
Lawless, why are you thinking about that, bro?
No, I want to. No, I'm not thinking about. I'm confirming what position that
Oh,
we're
right,
swapping.
okay.
So league
Yeah, okay.
position, like what they've achieved this
No, I'm
season.
giving
Yeah,
you the Carabao Cup as well. What man you've achieved this season, or what you're on the cusp of?
yeah. I would trade a Carabao Cup and fourth for 14th and Conference League final. Like I said, I do believe that I think the Europa League is the Conference League is a slight step up to the Carabao because what it gets you, but what it gets us will be negligible because we'd be in the Champions League anyway, so it wouldn't matter. I'd finally get to see my team win a trophy, and we'd have top four. So yeah, at the end of the day, I would trade that. Yes.
Okay.
But to put Tobe's little points
I was about
aside
to say.
here, is the thing is with us, why we've gone backwards is one, big thing was Moyes tried to change the way we played and it didn't work. It backfired massively. And a lot of the signings were brought in for that new way of playing and it hadn't worked. Rather than, carrying on with which he's gone back to now, what was working, he changed it, and that was a big mistake on his part, and that's why we've gone back.
But didn't you want him to change it? Didn't you want him to change it? Were you not trying to sign these players to play a different way? You wanted him to change it, and when you were trying to get Moyes out, one of your main reasons was we signed players to play a different style. He can't give us this style. Let's get rid of him. That was your point, right?
Yeah, that was my point. Because that.
Then how can you have a go at him for changing it?
Because because I don't have a go at him for changing it. I have a go for changing it when you have not got the capacity. Yeah,
This is a good question, Lawless, from Chris. I like this question.
Yeah.
What does success look like next season for West Ham? What position is your squad as it stands?
One of the loaded boys.
Big up, Chris from Loaded. Big up, Chris.
Yeah, I think success for us is for me. Consistency is a big thing, right? I want to be in Europe season on season, right? So whatever happens, however far we can go in Europa League, obviously if we win the Conference League, I want to be back and try and get in it again, whichever way is possible, right? So I want to try and finish around 6th. Worst case scenario, 7th. It's keeping that European football going for the club. And right now, the team looks like they're clicking. Everything's clicking. And the signings are starting.
Would you take a top half finish in the Carabao Cup next year?
Yeah, I would take that.
Lawless, do you actually think, though, with Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Villa, who are going to spend money, Spurs, City, Newcastle, that's 8. Do you think that your team has enough to be competing in that bracket? Considering also
Minus
you have
Rice.
European, minus Rice.
Well, yeah, not as now, but then like everyone here, it all depends on the transfer window. Every season, we look at teams on paper and we say, and no one expected Arsenal, right, to be where they are, and no one expected Chelsea to drop off. No one expected Liverpool to drop off like this. And look, even though Spurs, we shouldn't have high expectations from Spurs. No one expected them to finish outside of Europe this season, right? So we can all look at paper and go, well, yeah, Aston Villa should kick on. Brighton maybe should kick on. Liverpool should be back up there. Newcastle should stay up there. Spurs should be back there, right? And there's always going to be those unexpected turns. Like not every team is going to be where we expect them season on season. But at the end of the day, we just need to try and improve. Yes, okay, there's a big chance we're going to lose Declan Rice. However, in losing Declan Rice, we can potentially improve the squad as a whole. We could go backwards massively. That's a possibility for sure. We could lose him and decline in a big way. Or we could take that money and rather than, this is what I said to you, Potts, on WhatsApp, right? Rather than try and replace Declan Rice, yeah. Rather than just say, right, we're going to get another Rice in or try and get someone as good or nearly as good as Rice, we get a good replacement in, a solid replacement. It's not as good as Rice, but then we get better defenders, better fullbacks, a better, right wing cover, a better striker who fits Moyes' system. We make the team better, and then there's every chance then we can kick on. And maybe we have another mediocre season in the league, and maybe we go all out for the for the Europa League again. Who knows?
You could sell Rice. Tottenham could sell Kane, and then you'll both be in a relegation battle, Lawless.
We could listen. We could. I said it. We both could. That's a possibility because this is what I've said to you, Potts, with Arsenal. We all sit there and we say, yeah, if we improve our team in the transfer window, we'll get better, right? We all think that. We all feel like transfer windows will bring us improvement, right? But in reality, there's every chance that it doesn't happen. We've seen it with all of our teams. Every time we've seen it where we believe that, oh, yeah, we're going to spend this much and we're going to improve these positions and these signs are all going to click and we're going to get better. And then it blows up in our face. Every single one of our teams have seen that. So nothing is certain. It's
£90 million you're missing Rice's ability to drag those players through a game as well. So you're not just losing the player on the field, you're losing
There's 90 million and a player replace that, though, Lawless. There's 90 million and a player get Rice.
Depends on the player.
It depends 90 million and Calvin Phillips.
Look, I have big question marks over Calvin Phillips' injury record, but injuries aside, yeah, I think Moyes, he tried to sign him in January last season or the season before last, whatever we're counting as. I think that would be a no-brainer.
Grizz said yesterday 92 million in Smith Rowe, Arsenal.
Smith Rowe's not going anywhere, is he?
I can't believe you're shaking your. I can't believe you're shaking your head at that offer.
I don't see how Smith Rowe, for me, comes in, and I'm not saying he's a shit player, but I don't see how he comes in and gives our team a massive lift. Again, there's question marks over his fitness anyway, but if we're taking that out...
No, but it's not just Smith Rowe, though. You get Smith Rowe and 92 million. So the 92 million is what's going to give your team a massive lift, and the bonus is you get Smith Rowe on top. I can't believe you're saying no to this.
But what if I don't want Smith Rowe?
Fine, if you don't want Smith Rowe, fair, but you can't look at that as a bad deal for West Ham.
Well, yeah, if it's a player we don't want.
You get a good homegrown player who needs regular game time and needs to shake off injury issues, and he's young, reduces the average age of your squad, and you get 92 million on top.
I ain't gonna lie, I feel like Smith Rowe will be a Palace type player. I feel like that's where, you know what I mean? I think
you're saying that because he's not a Rice replacement. They're not alike.
They don't necessarily have to be the same position. But
you're forgetting how good Smith Rowe was last year, man.
They're not the same position, and I think that's why your judgment's clouded slightly. But as Toby just said, like if you get 92 million and Smith Rowe, you got an attacking-minded player that can play in that number 10 position, a little bit like Lanzini and one or two others. But then you can go and get a Rice replacement, however much you pay for it.
How much did Villa offer you for Smith Rowe?
36 million.
36. So that's like what? That's like nearly 120 mils worth of package.
No, but really, this is what you got. Have you ever like traded in games at CEX or anything like that back in the day, right? You know the cash value is always higher than the trading value. The trading value is lower, so don't look at it as Smith Rowe on trading is worth the same as cash. Yeah, so you've got to.
I hope Smith Rowe don't go. I love him, but I that's what I'm hearing. I don't think Arsenal want to leave him.
You love him.
Yeah, I love him, man. I don't want to. Where's that come from? I don't want him to go, man, because I like him. But I feel like if it was worth getting Rice, then I think most Arsenal fans would probably go for it. But I don't know if. I mean, I don't know if it's true for a start. I mean, Grizz has got a lot wrong, bless him. So I don't
You
know.
did tell me Bowen was going to Liverpool, to be fair.
Yeah, and Jude Bellingham.
He's
We all
barely
know
kicked the
about
ball
that.
for you, there, Pops.
He's been telling me that McAllister.
He's not been kicked the ball this season, Pete, at all. He hasn't.
No,
He's
he
been really
hasn't.
bad injury-wise. But he scored 11 goals last season for us and looked top. So I can't sit there and say that I've washed my hands of the guy. I think he's a young lad, hairline boy. He looks, for me, you know, like, you remember when Jack Grealish come on the scene?
Haaland
and
hype,
he
man.
was that kind of, he was that kind of, like, style.
11 goals,
And-
really, Potts? That's what you're selling me on? Like, yeah, okay, 11 goals is okay,
How
but
many did Ben Rama get? Who you wank off every week?
Sorry. Did you just say 11 goals is okay? How many of your attackers are scoring? How many of
But
your
no.
attackers?
Why'd you do
That's
this
scoring
to
11
yourself?
goals.
no, but let's be real. Let's
Antonio's got like
Right.
7 this season, hasn't he?
if Arsenal
He's got
are
like
the
7
team
goals.
that we say they are.
Where does he get off? And that's what I
Listen,
mean. That's
But
what
this
I mean.
is what I'm
It's
saying.
that type
You don't
of
understand
attitude.
logic, Tobes. If
It's that type of
Arsenal were
attitude.
the team we believe they are, right, then surely 11 goals in Arsenal will translate to less goals at West Ham, right? Because he hasn't got the players around him. Surely. He
Okay.
hasn't got the same quality of players.
I don't know how. I
What
don't
you
know
want?
how.
What you're saying is you want a player that scores 30 goals at Arsenal to come to West Ham because then he
I'm
might
not
get
30,
20.
I'm just saying
Well,
that
I
you're
don't
bigging
get
out. You're sitting there bigging up 11 goals for Arsenal.
And
Is
you
that
big
a
up
lot
Ben
for
Rama,
Arsenal?
who's got 5. What's the
But
point?
did
I don't-
And he takes penalties as
Smith
well.
Rowe probably gets 5 at West Ham then. Smith Rowe probably gets 5 at West Ham. Is
You don't
11
want Smith
goals
Rowe.
at
You don't want
Arsenal?
Smith Rowe.
Is 11 goals at Arsenal a good thing? Is that big? Is that like something to celebrate? Does that mean you're
Yes,
When a
that's a good-
player
that's a
gets
good
double
return.
figures,
Good
that's a
attacking
good
midfielder.
good
Good
He's
season.
a
attacking
midfielder, isn't he a number
at
10?
Arsenal?
It is.
Isn't he a number
the-
10?
He
the
plays
Arsenal-
wide. He
How many
plays wide
assists?
and-
Tell me how many assists. Give me the assists, please.
And
He's
number
number
10.
10.
Oh,
Give me
I
the
have to
assists.
look at it. Keep talking while I look it
Because
up.
that's what
He's
I
playing
want.
on the
Talk
left.
about West
He's
Ham.
playing-
I
he's
mean,
playing on the
He's
left.
playing on the left wing. He's playing on the
He's
left
playing
wing.
on the left.
you
That's
think
what you-
West Ham
exactly, that's what-
qualified
so
the
why
Champions
would you
League,
sell
know,
him
to
to me
that
as a
airtime
10?
again?
Oh no, that was Errol selling to me as a 10. Sorry.
I thought he was. Is he not a
Well,
10?
so you
No,
thought
he
wrong,
is a
mate.
10, but he was playing left wing, but he can play 10. He can play across the front 3. 11
Last
assists,
season.
11 goals, 2
Jack of all
assists.
trades, master of
Assists.
none is what you're selling me, basically. Okay, nice.
Yo,
I think
Lawless, beggars
that's
can't be
mad.
choosers, blood. You just take what you're given and enjoy
Listen,
it.
blood, we're not beggars.
Listen, blood.
Yeah, don't use our London lingo, Errol. About
But you
blood.
don't use London lingo.
Blood.
I could use whatever. I could use Scouse lingo. I can use Jamaican lingo. I can use black lingo. I can use whatever lingo I want. Don't
I
tell
know,
me.
but it
About
just sounds weird. You saying blood?
Oh, behave
Blood.
yourself. Behave
It's,
yourself.
it's
Listen,
blood.
we're gonna come to a close, but I wanted to ask you this question, all of you actually. Man City are a madness. We all know it. Probably are going to be a madness next season. Out of everyone, who do you think at the moment looks best placed to give them a run for their money? Are you going to stick with Arsenal, or are you going to think Man United take over, Liverpool few signings, Newcastle doing a madness or a shock? So yeah, let's see.
Yeah,
Errol, let's
right
start
now-
with you.
Right now, if you're asking who is best placed, I know it sounds mad to say it, but Newcastle right now are the best place to try and at least go toe to toe for in terms of the resources that they can go for, in terms of just literally having the squad, the manager, the system. They're on the ascendancy. I think Arsenal are going to apply a shit ton of pressure on themselves, and they have to get it right in the transfer market. There's no room for error. I don't think Man U are best placed. I don't think they're ready for that challenge yet. Liverpool and Spurs are not a million miles away, but I think Spurs are in a similar situation. What happens with Kane goes, I think you're going to have to. There's going to be a restructuring around Spurs. Obviously, they still got to sort out the manager situation, and I think Liverpool are a bit like Arsenal in the sense that there's no room for error in the transfer market. Lawless, no disrespect, but so I'd say Newcastle.
Pete.
That's just random. Lawless, no disrespect, but I'm saying Newcastle. All right, I'll let you off.
There was no way. I didn't want to just start dragging shit. We've just spent an hour talking about West Ham. I didn't want to spend any more yet and just It is what it is.
Yeah, unlike that, it makes a nice change from the usual hour we spend talking about Liverpool. You know what I mean?
Pete,
Nice,
Pete,
nice,
what are you
nice
saying?
Really
change.
quickly, Emil Smith Rowe last season, 12 goals, 2 assists in all competitions.
And Ben
12
Rama,
goals,
by the way,
2
as I
assists.
just put in the private chat, as Eamon Green,
Yeah, I just put
shout
that one
out.
up.
Ben
I
Rama
just
is
put
in
that one
double
up.
figures. Thank you. Thank you.
Ben Rama take
Shout-
penalties though. So
Eamon
talk
Green.
about you need to look at non penalty goals.
Oh, penalties don't count now. Penalties
No,
don't count. Oh,
no,
okay.
no. I'm not
Okay.
trying to use it to this. I think Ben Rama's been good for you this season, but I'm just trying to say that non-penalty goals are in my opinion, are a bigger metric of a player's ability to score. So your worry was that Emil Smith Rowe doesn't score enough, but if he's averaging more non-penalty goals per 90 than some of your other attackers, then that bodes well if you were to bring him in at West Ham. Does it not?
But the only what I'm saying is the only metrics you're giving me is goals. That's the only metrics that I'm being given with Smith Rowe to say
No, it's not
why
just
he'll be
goals.
good.
It's not just goals. He's a good ball carrier. He can take the ball. He can beat players. He can.
How
open up
fast
the
is
game.
he? Pace. Talk to me about
Yeah,
pace.
I would say he's relatively fast. I don't even know why I'm selling him to you. I don't really care, to be honest.
I don't want him to go, but let's see what
Tottenham
happens.
ain't challenging Man City.
Pete.
We can rule them out, obviously.
I'm gonna say Arsenal,
Happening.
and Man United next season to challenge.
West Ham for me.
Maybe even Liverpool. Look, I appreciate you, Errol, putting Newcastle into that position. I think we're probably a couple of years away from being in a position to go toe to toe with Man City over a course of a season. If you're talking about a game or a couple of games,
you've had the best defensive record in the league. If you can keep that record and score more goals you can score more goals next season.
You
can cause problems.
You could say that about United though. If we could play away from home, couldn't you? Because I mean, United have got the best home record in the Prem, hands down, haven't they?
Maybe so. I'm not going to put that expectancy on Newcastle. I'm not, because we are now expanding into the biggest cup competition in the world. Like,
that's probably why you're not the best placed person to actually make that call on Newcastle, because you don't want to put the expectation on it. Do you know what I mean? That's the same way with top four. You didn't want to say that you was getting top four because you don't want to put expectation.
The thing is, it might be a step too far, but everyone thought fourth was a step too far.
That's what I mean.
Look, I'm
in
not
terms of
going to
being
come out and
equipped
say
and having
for
all
sure,
the tools,
we don't know what the summer's going to be like.
You've got the tools.
You can say that about anyone.
I don't think they will do it, but they got. I mean, depends. Listen, this is all dependent on a summer window, right? For me, it's like who's got the most to do, who's back in Champions League. Arsenal and Newcastle now have got more games and harder games as well. Liverpool, I personally feel, will be back. I don't think they're as crazy as everyone thinks. I think 3 or 4 signings in the right areas again. You got to get right. They can get that right. They got the manager. They know it. They've done it before. They got the experienced players. Manchester United's Qatari ownership, that could be massive. They go by Kane, Neymar, and Rice. Let's say they're in the title race. So it's
West Ham United's Qatari ownership.
You know what? From a Newcastle perspective, I'd be absolutely buzzing if we sat here this time next year and we've played in the Champions League and yet we're still fighting for top 4 and we're in that conversation in the top 4. For me, that's progress, because with what we've done, we've added a European competition to our amount of games we're playing, and we're still competitive. If we're here this time next year, we're doing that. For me, I might be having a different conversation with you about what we can then build on for the following season after that. And that's what it is. It's a process. If we can show that we can go into a European competition, fight on 4 fronts, and still be fighting for top 4 by the end of next season, I'll be telling you, with another summer's investment and another Champions League football campaign, why not? Why not?
I think Newcastle will be dark horses. I'm calling Newcastle just by the fact of I think you got a really good coach. You got a feel good factor. People talk about FFP, but you're going to get more money from obviously finishing in the top 4. Then you're going to get all the TV money. You know, FFP doesn't.
So my question is this then, Lawless, and that's fine. I'm not saying, because I know you don't like Arsenal, right? I get it, but why would Newcastle be in a better position with Arsenal? Is it just money financially?
No, it's not just that. I honestly think they're in a really good place to grow, and I think their squad is in a good place.
And
to
Arsenal
build on.
are.
Yours are,
Arsenal
yours
are.
are. But
Right.
your ending, the way you're ending, I think mentality at Arsenal is a big weakness, and
Okay,
there's
I
certain
agree.
players, and you look at players that give right. Partey was arguably one of your most important players, right? Through your good period, right? That good period, you all said, oh, he's been one of our best players, most important players, right?
So what have the others done then that's shown better mentality than Arsenal? Liverpool's, Man United's, Newcastle's, Chelsea's.
No, I'm not. No, I'm saying that as one thing. But what I'm saying is there's certain players, Xhaka and Partey were two of your most key players in that run that you had, right or wrong?
Oh, experience-wise,
They were. Everyone was saying Partey is our most important player during that period. Partey and Xhaka are likely going. Okay, you potentially get Rice. It's still for him that there's no gap. I think it's quality, but you still have to replace them with two then quality players that fit into the team. I'm just saying that the two players that you relied on the most in that side potentially on their way out or just not going to be as good as before. So you have to get your transfers right. Everyone has to get their transfers right. But I just think that you crumbled when Partey got injured and then
you don't think
out.
Newcastle will? Okay, that's cool.
They could, but
I just Newcastle as well. So
away the lads.
I'm gonna go with Arsenal. I'm gonna back it. I don't think we can have any more excuses now. We're going into phase 4 apparently. Woohoo!
What was this fucking Marvel Cinematic Universe? Okay,
that must mean we're going to. I don't know how long the phase is, but the phases are. So I'm going to go for them. I'll let Tobes have the last word. Dan, what are you saying, bro?
I mean, I don't see anyone touching them again next season. That's my honest opinion. I don't see anyone touching them.
4 in a row.
I do.
Never done before.
I think complacency could creep in. I think.
If they win the Champions League
after a treble, I think there's a possibility.
Unless Pep goes, I don't know, man.
I don't think he'll go.
Pep won't go, and Pep doesn't allow complacency like that. To be fair, does he? And I don't know. I can't see anyone getting anywhere near City again next season.
We all agree with that. But if there is one team, who's best placed?
If we get Qatari, United will be up there. I think if we get Qatari, Errol, I'm just saying we'll be up there, mate. I've just literally said City are running away with it. This is going to be a battle for the rest. United could be there with the right personnel come through the door, but I'm not going to say Newcastle yet because Newcastle are facing the unknown next season. They're going up to play in the European games, and it's not the Europa League or the Conference League. It's the Champions League. And like Tobe said before, they are going to be playing Saturday, Tuesday. You've got to have the right squad for that. This has almost been like a free hit for Newcastle this season. Next
then you're
season,
making assumptions how far they go in it, though.
I get that. I agree.
Depends on recruitment. All depends on recruitment.
Like Tobe says earlier on, no. Are we sleeping on Chelsea with the fact that they're not going to have Champions League next season? And the expectation, as we said before, should be to get in the top 4. If they're only playing that one game a week and Poch does get it right by October, like you see now, it was a Conte that he fucked it up for Chelsea, and then all of a sudden he said, "Boom! This is how it's going to be." After he lost to Arsenal, then this is how it's going to be for the rest of the season.
They do have that bounce back ability more than any other team when it comes to going from a terrible league and then having.
There's no guarantee that Poch is going to click. Good manager, but he went to PSG and performed the least out of all the managers, including.
Tobes isn't going to like this.
Not having that one, and I've explained that. I've explained that again and again, and I'm going to keep explaining. No manager goes there and does an amazing job. Gautier won the league with Lille. They were saying that was a great signing. That was an amazing appointment, and now look at him. They're trying to hound him out. Are we now going to say he's not a good enough manager? Thomas Tuchel's not a good manager. Ancelotti's not a good enough manager. Come on,
Emery.
Man.
I think
Poch went in there instantly.
The feeling though that Poch is going to just walk into Chelsea and go, right now we're title challengers is madness for me. I'm not having that one.
Nobody thinks that though. Nobody thinks that, and I don't think anyone would expect that. But what we do expect is a clear improvement on this season. There has to be. This is ground zero. They have to be in the mix for top 4 next year. Simple.
Yeah, they have to be in it, in my opinion.
Simple as. And the point that Dan United was making, I to be honest, I think he was waffling with the United point, man, because I think Man United, we don't know what's going to happen with their owners, right? Newcastle, yes, they're going to have
I did say
it is an if, but it's Newcastle. They're going to have those things to contend with. But Newcastle already have a set style of play that is reminiscent to the better sides in Europe. So they already have a style that they can add players to actually enhance. Man United, still, Ten Hag still doesn't have the players that he needs for you guys to play a consistent style week in, week out, where you can control the opposition, where you can score lots of goals, where you can keep teams out. I think there's much harder work for Man United to do in the summer than there is for Newcastle. There is. That's just the way I see it. I think Newcastle are in a better position, and I really would not be shocked if Newcastle finish above Man United next season. The gap with you guys now is marginal. Yes, you could finish above them this season, but I would not be shocked if they finish above you next season. And I definitely do not expect Man United to be challenging for any title next season. I think you can re-establish yourself as a top 4 side and close the gap on the top, which I think is what you're saying. But as far as any title aspirations is concerned, I don't think
we're anywhere near the title. And I did say that I don't think we're gonna entertain the title. Like I said, I think City will run away, and I think it will be that mishmash of who battles for second, third, fourth. There's no way that United will win the league next season. I've stated that all the way through.
They can finish second. Are you saying that they can't finish second, Tobes?
Yeah, they're not finishing second. No chance. Not for me.
I think that's crazy to say.
Not for me.
4 in a row though.
Why is it crazy to say that Man United won't finish second?
I think it's crazy to say they can't finish second, not that they.
Okay, you know what? Let me change it. Anything can happen in football.
It's not like it's not like Leicester winning the league, them finishing second. There's a chance.
Yeah, there's a chance, but it's a very low chance. It's a very low chance.
Right, say they do finish third. You was finishing above them this season.
What's that?
Probably the same chances that West Ham were going to finish above them this season.
Well, is that above you?
Yeah.
No, it's right though, because say they finish, say they do finish third, yeah. Say they do finish third, they win their last 2 games, they finish third. You're saying they can't believe that they can go from third to second with Qatari owners, whatever, the right signings,
playing the season without a recognised striker as well.
Yeah. Ten Hag's second season. Right, Ten Hag's second season, not his first season when he's figuring out the league, like I was saying before, but his second season. And you're telling me that Manchester United, with Champions League pool as well, can't think that they can go from third to second or fourth?
They can think it. They can think it. I just don't think they will. I don't think they will finish second.
Yeah, but you said they can't.
Yeah, in my opinion, I don't see them finishing second.
What are you going for then?
No, you can't rule them out. So I said, fine. I won't completely rule them out, but I'm giving you my opinion.
Who's got more chance of finishing second, Newcastle or Man United?
What's that?
Who's got more chance of finishing second, Newcastle or Man United?
Next season.
Next season.
I already said. I think Newcastle. I think if Newcastle get their signings, right, and Man United get their signings right, I think Newcastle already ahead in terms of how they want to play. I think I think their method of playing can lead to more points than Man United's method of playing.
Yeah, but with respect to that, Howe's had longer with Newcastle than Ten Hag had with Man United. Howe had a lot longer, didn't he, to implement his style of play. And the players he brought in, he already had that style of play he wanted to implement so that they could come in and buy in with that.
It's about the summer, isn't it?
I don't expect either Newcastle or Man United to finish second. I expect it to be one of. I expect it to be probably Arsenal again if they make the right signings. Liverpool will probably be in the mix as well if they get the right signings as well. I think one of Man United and Newcastle will be battling for top 4. In fact, both will be battling for top 4 with Liverpool.
But the question was that Potts framed to us was who was the best equipped as it stands. For me, the answer is clearly Newcastle. If we're all going to sit here and hypothetically sit there and say, if we all get our transfer windows spot on, exactly. I'm gonna be completely real with you and tell you it'll be Liverpool again. If we all get our business spot on, and we all perform to the best of our capabilities next season, there's nobody other than Liverpool that can take it toe to toe with City. That's still been proven. Arsenal, commend them. They did really well this season. And no, Dan, you can laugh. You can laugh.
I'm not laughing. I'm looking at my phone.
Fuck off. But at the end of the day, if you get it right, no, but I'm just sitting there and saying, if we was to get it right and we all play to the best levels that we've seen our teams play to, Arsenal's best level is in and around where they are now. Man U's best level, we're still yet to see in the last 10 years the highest height that U's can play. Likewise, for Toby's best level, Spurs' best level is in and around where Arsenal are right now. Liverpool's best level could sit there anywhere between 93 points and 99 points. That in itself should push City to the final 2 games of the season. And that's just me being real. And that's on the basis that all of us get all of our business 100% spot on. And I'm not saying that's going to happen in anywhere because it doesn't happen like that. Lawless has said it before. It won't happen like that. So if we're going to take it back to who is the most equipped as it stands, my case is still it's on Newcastle right now.
Newcastle.
Fair play, man.
People just love doing the accent.
Fair play. Listen, people, we're going to wrap that up, man. We've spoken for over 2 hours. Wow, that's crazy. Big up Dan, big up Tobes, big up Lawless, big up Pete, big up Errol. Make sure you go follow these guys, man. Make sure you go follow on their socials and on their YouTube channels. You know them all by now. And do me a favor. I'm only a few hundred away from 9K people, so please come and help us get there. That would be amazing. Smash a like on your way out. We will see you next time.
That'll be Toes watching our final, like June 7th. That'll be Toes watching the West Ham in the Conference League final, June 7th.
What's the score going to be, Lawless? 1 sec. As we go out, what's the score going to be?
Oh, prediction. I'm gonna say, I reckon it's going to be a tight, nervy 2-1 West Ham. We're not going to run away with it, but first goal crucial. I'm saying that, mate.
You'll be going out there. You got your ticket weeks ago, so you'll be all right. You'll be fine. You told us you were winning it, so you obviously booked your final. Why would you not book your flight and your final ticket if you knew you were going to win it? Come on.
Well, I didn't get the.
Fucking Nosy had it.
Are you hearing this? Are you hearing this, Tobes? Are you hearing this, Tobes? For 3 months, he's been telling us he's going to win it. He hasn't booked a final. What's all that about?
Well, I booked the. I tried to get the ticket. I didn't get the ticket. I didn't get it. Couldn't get it.
You should still go there anyway. You still go there
because I might not be able to find a place to watch the game. There's going to be about 20,000 West Ham.
You're going to tell me that there's going to be nowhere in Prague for you.
He's not having a fan park. He's not having a fan park.
There's going to be about 20,000 ticketless West Ham over there.
There's going to be a fan box somewhere.
They were like, it was the same for Spurs when we had Liverpool in the final.
No disrespect to you, yeah. But the reality is, this could be the only final in Europe that you see in your lifetime. How the fuck are you not on a plane?
Well, listen. If I could get a ticket, I'll be there. If I could get a ticket, I'll be there.
It's hard to get a ticket because the stadium only holds 12,000 people.
20,000, but we only get about 4,000 tickets because of corporate.
4,000 in a 20,000 seat stadium.
Yeah, because the rest is for corporates and all that shit.
I hate it when they do that, man.
That's worse than the Carabao Cup final.
Yeah.
Jesus
Christ, it's bullshit. They could have done it in a fucking 60,000 seater stadium. That shit would have sold out. It's a disgrace. It's a joke. But
yeah, such a big trophy to win.
It's the level of the
Wembley, wouldn't you?
I don't care where we are, as long as we fucking win it. I don't care if I see it. I don't care what happens. We just win it. I don't care.
You got to win it, mate. Because trust me, you are absolutely finished if you lose it. I'll tell you that now, right now. You are completely and utterly finished in the It's not even in the mud, mate. You're in an absolute landslide. I tell you this now.
If we win it, change this show to Race for Lawless, yeah, because it's my show next season. Let's just say that, yeah. Let's just say that.
Wow.
On that note,
on that note, it's time to go. Take it easy, people. Smash a like on the way out. Subscribe if you're new. Get us to 9K. Laters.